What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the update on our Dallas Cowboys, of course. And thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family, of course. Going to speak on, not just the latest info and updates on our Cowboys, but everything else that's been going on with them the last few weeks that unfortunately you have not seen us here on the MCF side of things. But of course, we have all of the updates here.
I mean, let's get it rolling here, guys. Again, we've been out of commission for a couple of weeks, for like 3 weeks, so I appreciate you all sticking in here with us and everybody chilling here, hitting the like and subscribing that bell. But before we get into the really all the news in this past month or so that we've kind of seen brewing from the Cowboys, it's been some surprises. I want to know what you guys think about the move so far, but we're going to talk about it all right here tonight. And it's, we're going to have some, draft comp pick talk. We're going to have some retirement talk. We're going to have some of our guys that we lost, some guys that re-signed, and free agency, some moves that we've made, either in free agency or trades, believe it or not. So we'll talk about it all. We're definitely doing more than we've done in the past, but is it enough? Look at Jerry's eyes. Look into those eyes. You know the answer. So anyways, as we get rolling, though, let's not forget who makes the thing go round here. And it's the people ripping on this board, like the sponsor of the week. You see him right there, Mr. John Luna. Big shout out to him.
Mr. Luna.
I think he's got 6 wins in a row. This has been like a month, so I'm not going to count every week. They're wins now. But big shout out to the sponsor of really the last 2 months, Mr. John Luna. He's also rocking 100 full points on the Stream Boss and also is the gifting membership gifting champion, I guess I'd say. Shout outs to him. That's 6 in a row for that as well. So he's dominating 3 of the 4 boards, but you see the man staying skeptical. Skeptical fan. Much love to him. He is, of course, the Cash App King from the last time he took over that's top spot. Last time you saw us, which was pre-Super Bowl, and it was an ugly Super Bowl it was. But Mr. Skeptical Fan sent a couple drops of a thanks button drop and a Cash App drop, and so he is the current leader right now when it comes to the Cash App side of things. He said, "Whoa, the Cowboys are making me proud." Oh, Cash App side of things. Hold on, yeah. He said that the Cowboys are making me proud. Almost, of course, almost. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, Mr. Skeptical Fan. Also, we have him dropping that $5 thanks button drop, and the there he just lists all the deals that we made. We're gonna go through that in a moment. So we got you, Skeptical. Much love to you, and he's moving up this board as well, as you can see here. I just want to do a shout out for a bunch of you guys that haven't been a little bit of time here since the Super Bowl. We've been live, so let me go through some shout outs here. People that are on the board, drop the love. Outside of Skeptical Fan, it's been all through memberships. So there's a lot of different ways, guys. You can see it. It can be the super chat. We have a goal set up today as well. But you can do super chats through here. You can do the PayPal. There's a lot of different ways. But when you look at the membership side, amazing games. Much love to him. Twice in the Navy Blue crew. Tammy Soltis, the same thing. John Luna, much love to him in that star level membership. Then the man Dwayne Broussard in the silver level. Alpha Male Pimp in the Navy Blue crew. Roy Strasner, you too. We also have William Burney, JD from DC, Indian Boogie, all in that Navy Blue crew, and Justin Quarles, the Q man in that silver level too. You got John Syme. I think he doubled it up. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I think he's on the definitely at least once on that Navy Blue crew. A. Lavelle, appreciate him because he did not just re-up in that silver level, our longest standing member, by the way, Mr. A. Lavelle. He also dropped some pre-stream love. Gerald Swain as well in the Navy Blue crew. Tony Wimbish in the Navy Blue. We got Alanda Hanslu. She's back in there in the Navy Blue. We got Aussie in that star level membership. 2 times. Amazing games. Like I said, he's doubled it up. And, Tammy Soltis, John Luna, Dwayne Broussard, Alpha Male Pimp. Thank you, guys. The board is adjusted appropriately. And appreciate everybody who's dropped the love. And if you look at the pre-stream love tonight, 2 drops from Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. He had a couple comments. And we also had a drop from the man, A. Lavelle. Baby, what did everyone say? What did Skeptical say?
So, first of all, Skeptical Fan with his $2 holler said, wait for it. And go Cowboys,
Hell yeah.
Of course. And then another $2 holler saying the Cowboys select Jerry Jones for retirement.
I wish. That's dream. That would be dreams coming true. NBA Boogie and the membership, like I just said, in that Navy Blue, and he's giving his monthly March shout out.
And that's right. His membership message.
What's up?
He said, "What's up, MCF fam?
Fans
MCF
for life.
fans for life."
He said, "MCF fam." He said fans for life. Fan for life.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right. Anyway, the thing is, the Indian Boogie, much love to you, man. He's boogieing on in here. Appreciate you all coming in here for a little bit of a bigger show since we haven't had one for a while. And it has been up and down. It's going to be tough to do like consistent shows right now in the offseason, but we'll do our best. With at least wrap-ups and updates. It'll be a little longer shows, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, shout-outs to Skeptical on both of those drops. I wish we could get Jerry Jones retired. And then we also had A. Lavelle with a drop.
Yes,
a $10 holler right there, pre-streaming it. I guess I don't know why it didn't come through, but they're all coming through now. John Luna down to 99 points. But what did A. Lavelle say with his $10 holler?
He said, "What's up, MCF and MCW? Hope you're doing well. It's good, everyone in the chat. I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Well, another year of bargain bin free agency and first round butt. After Joneses, but let's go Cowboys, baby."
We get Mr. A. Lavelle's 2 cents right away. So,
always.
Not as bargainy as usual, bargain basement as usual. I'm going to admit that part. Is it still good, though? We'll talk about it. Guys, a lot of ways to drop the love in here. Super chats. There's the thanks button, which Skeptical Fan did that earlier. We have, of course, jumping in the membership, joining the membership, rejoining the membership. Thank you, guys. I just shouted out. Skeptical Fan back into the star level membership. Shout outs to him.
Thank you, Skeptical Fan.
Man.
Jumping up in the ranks there. Yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
If I'm not mistaken, he's 2nd place on the board here right now. Shout out to the man staying skeptical back in that star level as we get back rolling into Cowboy news, info, and updates. You know how this goes. So if we didn't clear the screen, we're still just shouting out people. Big shout outs to Skeptical Fan. Thank you, brother. We'll put you back up on the top of the list here and move around the leaderboard as needed. Shout outs to Skeptical Fan. He's always staying skeptical. Big fan. From the start here at MCF. So big shout outs to him. Anyways, I do want to say dropping things like, jumping into membership, like you just saw from Skeptical Fan.
Yes.
And once you're in the membership, you can then gift memberships. That's also an option. Navy blue, silver, star, over everything, doesn't matter what level. You can gift memberships when you're in there. And that, we also have a special board for that, for shout outs for those like John Luna, who's been unbelievable at gifting memberships for the last 6 times we've done this. Last 6 weeks we've done this. I guess you could say it's been about a month and a half, 2 months. He's dominated every board. The Skeptical Fans got that Cash App crown, which again we shouting out everybody here. But there's other ways of dropping the love, not just through the YouTube way. There's the After Dark way. If you saw After Dark in the chat, there's a reason for that. But there's an after dark way. What are those ways, baby?
Of course, we have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, the Venmo app My Cowboys Family. You have the regular PayPal link, of course, and the Streamlabs link that lets your comment show up on screen just like a super chat would too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways. There's another PayPal way,
Mhm.
which is like PayPal me. I forgot what it is. But anyway, it's all in there in the description
Yeah.
if you want to check that out as well. And of course, there is a goal set. Any $5 dropped in the super chat, if we get 20 of those tonight, everybody gets put into a raffle for the end of the month, kind of, or not. I say end of the month. It's just the end of the term, I guess.
Yes.
It could be bi-monthly, whatever it is. But basically, as you see us here, this is what I'm talking about. The star and over everything level memberships, and also the weekly winners, which right now are becoming kind of monthly winners or bi-monthly winners, get thrown into this raffle. So the winner of the month, but also those that get pulled and get get. I think we have 4 names we pulled from these.
Yes.
So if we do hit the goal that you can see over there right now, I think it's 0 for 20. If we get 20, $5 hollers or higher, starting now to the end of the stream, it will everybody in those areas will get extra extra abilities, I should say, and raffle entries to get into the main raffle. And we got Hi Wen in the house, who got gifted Hein Wen in the house, who was gifted membership by the one, the only. Hey, say his name loud and proud.
Skeptical fan.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Skeptical. Much love.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
When I pick the board, you will be now the leader. He's not. You can say the gifting leaders right now to be announced. No, skeptical fan. He's got one, and he's in the lead. Shout outs to him on that side as well. So yeah, you get the picture. Sewn and stitched jersey of any team, any sport, any team. Any players available, but of course here we mainly do Dallas. We love our Cowboys. You know, pretty much everyone but John Luna, I think, has gotten a Dallas Cowboy jersey of some sort. So big shout outs to the winners, to the star and over everything level members, and of course, since it is it's been a while since we did the shout outs. We don't just shout out the star and over everything. We also shout out the silver level members.
Of course. So thank you very much to Justin Quarles, the Q Man, Top Dog Bait Bullies, Mr. Dwayne Broussard.
Yes, sir.
A Lavelle, the longest running MCF member here.
I'm going to say 56 months.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, and then in the star membership, we do have John Luna in the house and Aussie.
Yes. Don't forget also, newly minted Skeptical fan. He's now in the house.
That's right.
As a star
Thank you
level
very much,
member.
Skeptical.
So, hell yeah. Much love to him and everybody on all those levels and the over everything as well, which we right now, it's the off season, right?
Yes.
So you know how that goes. But anyways, baby, I think I'm done. Other than with, we did the shout outs, we did everything. I'll update the board while you do the rest of the shout outs. So who's in the house right now? Talk some Cowboy football this late evening, this late night.
We have Scorpio in the house. What's up? Much love.
Yeah.
Meatball Ron, hello and hi.
Meatball Ron.
Orlando Rodriguez.
He's an Eagle fan. Be careful.
What is up?
Orlando in the house.
We of course he and Hein win. That sounds like an interesting name there. Just throwing that out there. Just maybe my after dark sensors are tingling. That's all I'm gonna say.
Maybe some after dark leakage.
Darren's CEO Davis, what's up? Much love. We have James Herr in the house. Sean Hopkins, where did Dak Prescott go? He's enjoying the offseason, just like the rest of us are, right? So much fun to be had.
Yeah.
Larry, what's up? Hello and hi.
Larry!
The dude in the house.
Dude abides.
Chris Plumage, much love. And Cooper Rush is on. We obviously are going to touch on that and much, much, much more.
Yes.
Of course.
Hakeem
Sears, hello and hi.
We're going to cry tears for Cooper Rush?
Oh, we're just talking about changes.
No. We definitely listen. A lot of changes. So buckle up, guys.
Let me see. 24/7 Cowboy, skeptical fan, of course. True Cowboy, what's up? Aztec Aguilar 04. Chris Plumage, much love. Yeah, just keeping it fresh over here every once in a while, of course. Let's see who else we have in here. Mr. A. Lavelle, can't forget him. Presley Mitchell, what's up?
Yeah.
The top dog, Dwayne Broussard. Antoine Scott, hello and hi. Let me come back down. Tired ass Cowboy fan, salute to you. Oh, I don't know about that going in the trash can. I don't know about that. But let's go ahead. Talk about everything that's been going on, baby.
Yeah, we will. We're going to
pass the mic off to you.
We're going to get rolling here. Just one thing, as I was doing the movement on the boards and all that stuff and making sure everyone was in their rightful place, just wanted to say the great man, skeptical fan, still in second place. I think he's like 10 back, though. Like 10 back from first place on Aussie. So we'll see what happens. John Luna there in third.
Actually, before you get going,
Yeah.
the lunatic in the house,
Hey,
always Dallas Cowboys for
hell
life. And
yeah.
yes, I wish
Por vida.
hashtag fire Jerry's GM,
I
you
wish
know,
too.
had more of an effect than,
Yeah.
you know, trending on Twitter. You know what I mean?
When we let, yeah, it ain't good. Listen, no one's gonna fire Jerry. Jerry, it's just listen. We tried that whole thing with at least Jason Garrett, and it finally got something done. We got a little bit of daylight with McCarthy in the sense of like he's a solid coach and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
like I
But
thought that was the biggest chance for change.
yeah, but then you see the same old shit of Jerry Jones just having a puppet coach, and McCarthy is that. He became that, and so is Schottenheimer, who is of course our brand new coach. But when we left you last. We had Zack Martin about to retire officially and all that stuff, but we had some other things to do and discuss outside of the Cowboys, which was the Super Bowl. And boy, I'm glad we were not live. This was the worst Super Bowl I've ever fucking seen. I don't want to even think. Honestly, that's one of the main reasons that I've been really soured on anything Cowboys right now. I don't even want to talk about it because the Eagles won this goddamn.
Everyone fucking hurt.
And the Eagles are celebrating. They love it. They deserve it at this point. I mean, Howie Roseman is the reason why they win the Super Bowls. That's plain and simple. And that's the exact thing we don't have with us. They have the best GM in the league. We have the worst GM in the league. We have a GM. If I told you, hey, listen, we're going to not fire a GM who's 82 years old and hasn't won a divisional round game or gotten to a conference championship game in 29 years. If I told you that, you'd say, how the fuck are you going to keep this guy another year? We're going to year 30? That's what we got in Dallas. That's what we got with Jerry Jones.
Yeah, like that's our idea of success.
That's our general manager. And that is and the Eagles general manager is Howie Roseman, wheeling and dealing and winning Super Bowls. Now, I'll also say this: Jerry Jones, a fantastic owner, Hall of Fame owner. He's changed the game in many ways, the rules, billions upon billions for the NFL, changing the landscape of it all. Great, but he's not a good general manager. He's both of those for the Cowboys. So he's a great owner, horrible general manager, the worst I've ever seen. Other than getting Jimmy Johnson in here, after that, when he fired Jimmy Johnson 5 years later, it was the biggest disaster. And it's still happening. We're still feeling it now. So what happened? Yeah, the Eagles won a fucking Super Bowl. Second in 7 years since we've been going. Let's say second in 8 years, these motherfuckers. I'm going to give you good news, though. 5 is still greater than 2, so fuck you, Philly. And, our own fucking Kellen Moore, that we know how vanilla he was with the Cowboys. Was it because we didn't have the players? Was it because, the coaching? Was it because the ownership? I think it's a combination of everything. The players that the owners wanted and the way we used them. And he was told to use them. But either way, Kellen Moore coming off a Super Bowl victory as the Eagles offensive coordinator finalized a deal with the Saints shortly after the Super Bowl victory to be their brand new head coach in New Orleans. So, again, official Kellen Moore, Saints head coach. He went from the Cowboys to the Chargers, to the Eagles, to a Super Bowl. Now, Kellen fucking Moore with a Super Bowl ring, more than any Cowboy that's alive right now on our team, coaches and players, basically. Yeah. From a star from a Cowboys Super Bowl perspective, outside of the front office and Jerry. Guys, I mean, it's embarrassing, plain and simple. Kellen Moore has a Super Bowl ring, and now the head coach of the Saints. And in Jerry's mind, it's another guy he let go. He let him go. He missed another opportunity with a Super Bowl type coach in Kellen Moore. That's a Jerry Jones season, this. But Kellen Moore leaves Philly, Super Bowl champion, and now starts new work in New Orleans. I do not like Kellen Moore, but he used the players right. He didn't have interference in the front office. They told him, here's the players, now use them. You wanted them? Now use them right, and they used them right. And you got to give credit to Kellen Moore.
It just feels like here's another person in a long line of people, whether they're coaches, whether they're players, doesn't matter what they are. They go and leave Dallas, and then they find success. And then they get a Super Bowl ring. And then they continue to find better success than we have, certainly. So it hurts.
I mean, I go through a list
to have to keep going through the same feeling.
Kellen
fucking Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Sorry.
Kellen Moore is a trash heap. Honestly, a player. A very vanilla coach, Super Bowl champion. Look, I'll say this: they got Saquon Barkley, used them right. Whoever had the concept of the way of using him was the key there. I don't know if it was Kellen Moore or not, but the key here is you look at the Eagles. Listen to this, baby.
Yeah.
The Eagles have the 9th highest paid quarterback. $51 million.
Mm-hmm.
It hurts. The third highest paid running back at Barkley,
Mm-hmm.
12.5. They did give him a new deal, by the way, so
Yeah.
he is getting more. But still, he went from 12.5 million a year to 15 million a year. It's not going to break the bank, is what I'm trying to say. So the actually now the first highest paid running back, but at the time during the Super Bowl run, third highest paid running back. They also had the third and 11th highest paid wide receivers. 34 million in AJ Brown and 25 million in Devontae Smith. Fourth highest paid tight end in Dallas Goedert, 14 million. Fifth highest paid left tackle, 22 million. First highest paid left guard, 22 million. Fourth highest paid right tackle, 20 million. They had 6 top 5 paid players. They have 7 top 10 paid players. The Eagles have $29 million in dead money this year, as far as the Super Bowl ending. And at the time, again, now it's changed a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They have more. They had $18 million. After all this, they had only $18 million. I'm sorry, they have a lot. $18 million in cap space. After all these guys are highest paid quarterbacks and running backs and receivers and tight ends and offensive linemen and defensive linemen. I'm saying offensively, they've poured in money and they still have $18 million left in cap space. And that's with Brandon Graham leaving now and other guys leaving. It's probably more now.
We can't do the same.
We don't know. That's that. And you know what the key is? I'm going to say his name again. Howie Roseman is the reason why the Eagles won that Super Bowl and both Super Bowls, honestly. And that right there is just another glimpse of why. Now, why are we going to have more trouble winning anything when it comes to our Cowboys? Because of this guy right here not being with us anymore officially. This future Hall of Famer, All-Pro offensive guard, Zack Martin retired from the NFL a month ago, basically, after 11 years in the NFL, 11 years with the Dallas Cowboys, all with the Cowboys. Zack Martin's final season, as we know, unfortunately, sadly, ended prematurely with that ankle injury and the ankle surgery. He had to finish the year on IR for the first time in his 11 years career. Now, Zack Martin, you got to remember this, guys. He has 7 first-team All-Pro selections. And he's tied with Randall McDaniel and John Hanna for the most among guards all time. In any team in history. Tied with 2 other guys for the most all time at guard. So just 7 times first-team All-Pro. Insane. He also has earned a shitload of accolades. We know he's going to be a Hall of Famer when he's first ballot Hall of Famer. But this to me is a crazy stat for Zack Martin. He has as many first-team All-Pro selections, and I said it's 7, as he does in his career have accepted penalties, which is 7.
Insanity.
He has 7 accepted penalties in his career called against him, and that was called and accepted, not declined. He has 7 first-team All-Pro selections. Again, like I said, guys, that's Cowboys' best, but also tied when it comes to guards all time, tied with Randall McDaniel and John Hanna. So a future Hall of Famer gone, and I'm going to say it, wasted another Hall of Fame career. Listen to this, guys. The Cowboy legacy players in the last 2 decades, almost 3 decades, to never make a Super Bowl with the Cowboys. Tony Romo, Jason Witten, Zack Martin, Demarcus Ware, who won it, by the way, with the Denver Broncos, Tyron Smith, Des Bryant, Sean Lee, Travis Frederick, Ezekiel Elliott. Not all Hall of Famers, but legacy kind of players. Players first round pick, guys you build
Zeke
around.
Still had a legacy stretch of
he had greatness with the Cowboys for sure.
That we had and could have taken advantage of.
And a first overall pick, a legacy player we're going to build off of. Micah Parsons came back with this and said, "Hold up, that list is coming to an end." End quote. So we'll see what happens, but he's been doing a lot of talking, Micah. We're going to get to Micah Parsons back in a little bit here. And I want to know what you guys think. Because, we have another Demarcus we got to discuss here as well. But we'll get back to Micah. Micah is saying he wants to break that. He wants to break that streak.
Trying to say that he wants to break that streak. And I have to be honest. Even when he's been yapping, you can't say that he hasn't been putting in the work on the field. Like that's the one thing you can't take away from
people
him.
People gonna say, sometimes he's slow, doesn't show up in games, or he, at end of games he's too tired. And I mean, that's more on usage than Micah. in my opinion. But I mean, maybe there's better ways of using him to keep him more efficient throughout the game. How
I
about that?
mean,
That would be possible.
I don't know. I don't want to get into numbers and stats again, but we've seen his snap count. He's basically out there something like 95% of the
Yeah,
game or some crazy
yeah, for the
amount.
most
So,
part.
you know, yeah, I'm not surprised that towards the end of the game he's looking a little bit gassed, but that's not the point.
Yeah, yeah.
You
No,
know,
look, the point here is that
I'm not
Micah.
and not even making an excuse or anything. Just throwing out there that he does have heavy usage.
Right. Well, again, this all comes back to Zack Martin and the fact that he wants to be the guy that wins the Super Bowl. That's a legacy player. That's all. So
Well,
we'll see what happens. He has to prove it, obviously. But Zack Martin, another little. I want to kind of move this to the next topic. I don't know if anybody has any comments on Zack Martin. If it's a Zack Martin comment, please let me know. But outside, we'll save the rest of the comments
Chief
as it
Cowboy said Zach Martin will be a first ballot Hall of Famer in 5 years.
for sure. 5 years you got to wait, and that's the first ballot.
And DJ Chuck said, "Are there no good up and coming offensive linemen we could get in the draft as good as Martin?" I don't keep up with college football as much.
Yeah, me neither. But I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to do the draft stuff more in April. Because it's still a little early. Not early. It's time because the Cowboys are still forming their team with a lot of free agents, a lot more than we thought. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
I will tell you the guy the Cowboys are going to replace him with. I got the answer for you, brother, but futuristically speaking, I don't know. As soon as he's gone. The first thing we know was going to be done and said, and we said this, if he retires, it's going to be TJ Bass. He's the penciled-in starter before free agency. After free agency, I got an answer for you. But we'll get to that shortly. Great stuff, though, on the Zack Martin thing. I just want to make sure we discuss Zack Martin in full. We're not going to spend hours on this. We're done. But I did want to say where it matters, and that's on the contract side of things, on the salary cap side of things. On Thursday, all right, the Cowboys officially released Zack Martin. So this was made as a June 1st designation cut, a June 1st cut.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was expected after they restructured his deal last month or last year. The Cowboys restructured his deal, knowing he might retire. They retired, and now they have a June 1st release or retirement, but it's still a release officially today. So what does that mean on the cap this year? He's going to count about $9 million against the cap, and about $17 million against the cap next year. That's dead money.
Okay, yeah,
that's $26 million over 2 years we got to pay. But I want to make sure we say this here. We're also saving money this year, next year, overall, in the sense that we don't have the player. It's dead money. But instead of paying him 17 this year, we're saving $8 million on the cap this year. So you got to look at that right now. It's expected. He retired. Can't help it. We got to bite the bullet. Jerry Jones, does his contract. He sits out a year. He redoes his contract. Gets a good deal, and then we got to eat this money. Fucking sucks. So the point is, $26 million got to be eaten over the next 2 seasons. We're doing 9 this year, 17 next year. But like I said, it would have probably cost us next year. Probably would have cost us only $3 or $4 million more.
Yeah.
This year we probably saved about $10 million or so on Zack Martin's release. Let's say, but it's still we got to still pay the rest of his contract, which does $9 million this year on the cap. But I just want to say that. As we move off of Zack Martin, that's it for Zack Martin for now. And I want to move on to a guy who's not here anymore, and it's Demarcus Lawrence. Now, the reason I'm moving on to him because his contract.
Perfect timing because the chat is literally talking about him as well.
No, it's not. I'm going to get to him because it's kind of a process. I'm going to explain it. Demarcus Lawrence, guys, and not just him, but also Brandon Cooks. Him and Brandon Cooks are both, before even the free agency started, had their contracts voided. Means Demarcus Lawrence, Brandon Cooks, gone. They would be free agents. We knew this already before free agency started. After the contracts of Demarcus Lawrence and Brandon Cooks were both voided. Demarcus Lawrence already, because of the voided contracts, is going to kill us on $7.445 million against the cap. So Demarcus Lawrence, dead money, he leaves us with almost $7.5 million of dead money this year. Brandon Cooks going to count for $4 million against the cap this year. But again, and we know that Demarcus Lawrence is now with the Seattle Seahawks. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Brandon Cooks, if he was to re-sign with another team, the Cowboys cap number would be in addition to the $4 million for him. Now, I do want to say some other stuff here. NFLPA, when it comes to the salary cap and all this stuff, we do have the cap numbers came out. NFL Player Association has the Cowboys carrying over $18.8 million in cap room from 2024 and 2025. So again, Zack Martin, Demarcus Lawrence, Brandon Cooks, these guys are counting about 20 million, a little under $20 million against the cap. So basically, that $18.5 million is wiped out by these three guys I just talked about. Zack Martin, Demarcus Lawrence's voided contract,
Yeah.
and dead money, and Brandon Cooks' is dead money. So that money we saved last year, 18.8 million. Remember, we didn't spend any of that money? And we're like, why can't we spend it? We have $18 million. It's gone because of this. We used it for dead money on Zack Martin, Demarcus Lawrence, and Brandon Cooks. But then the Cowboys decided to do right before free agency started, we restructured some of our biggest contracts. Restructured. Remember, restructured is something we know. They just hit a button. So the first guy was CeeDee Lamb.
Boom.
Cowboys restructured his brand new contract of CeeDee Lamb, creating $20 million of cap space. So it went from 0 to 20, literally there. CeeDee's cap charge in 2026, though, it's going to be $38.6 million next year. So again, we opened up $20 million just on that move there. Then we said, all right, we got one deal done. What about the other huge deal, which is Dak Prescott? The Cowboys have restructured Dak Prescott's contract literally a day before free agency started. And I'm talking about the tampering, the legal tampering. The Cowboys restructured Dak's contract, which then opened up another $36.6 million in cap space. So 36.6 plus 20 from CeeDee Lamb is $56.6 million in basically 2 days. From 0 to 56.6.
So
of
again,
open cap space.
So you're telling me it can be done, right? Because
the pie is a lie, as we like to say.
I'm just saying, like, this is exactly the types of moves and things like that we kind of just praised Howie Roseman for in certain aspects, in the sense of like the way that they open up this kind of money and
Right.
then go and spend it.
But
The
that's
thing
good.
is,
But
we
hold on, that's
opened
the
up
thing.
all this money. Where are we gonna spend it?
Well, I want to make sure that's the thing I want to make sure. Howie Roseman, he made this moves, by the way. These two moves, these are the basic restructure.
Yeah.
Like Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb have nothing to do with this.
Right.
Like, it's not a great move by Roseman or by, this is a basic move by Steven and Jerry Jones. This is how they do all their contracts. And every contract has this in the Cowboys side. So I wouldn't really compare this to a Howie Roseman move. This is more what old contracts kind of happen in the NFL. The problem is that the Cowboys open up this money and then don't use the money. So that's, I think, is where we're not, Howie Roseman gets that money open somehow and then uses it. He takes his cuts. He loses Carson Wentz. He loses this guy. The bad moves, they move on and they take a slight hit, a bump in the road, and they still keep winning, still keep driving towards a Super Bowl. That is a difference between Jerry Jones, general manager, and Howie Roseman, the Eagles general manager. But you ask, what is that money going to be? $56.6 million. Well, let's start chopping it up. Let's start chopping it up and taking it off. So first and foremost, I want to say that the Cowboys they take the top 10 Cowboy players in performance-based pay, and they give them money. So what does that mean? Well, let me explain. Cooper Beebe, guys, got over $705,000, almost $706,000 last year. Bonus, additional. This is additional. This is almost like an incentive. All right. Remember, guys, this is performance-based play. Cooper Beebe started every game. He was out there playing over percentages of whatever. So he got $706,000. Jalen Tolbert, $593,000. Chauncey Golston, $580,000. These are all just bonus. They get the money, and it hits our cap this year. Brock Hoffman, $497,000. DeMarvion Overshown played enough to get $483,000. Maurice Leofau, the rookie, $448,000. Jalen Brooks, $443,000. Rico Dowdle, $423,000. Jake Ferguson, $417,000. Israel Mukuamu, $411,000. So when these are they don't sound like big numbers. We talk about millions. We talk about these are just 411,000 only, right? But these are just bonuses they get. Mukuamu played a lot. He got $411,000 because of his performance-based play incentives. And it keeps going down the list. We paid about $5 million in incentives. So now we're at 56. Figure we're at 51.6 now. All right? And by the way, in this mix, I wanted to say Demarcus Lawrence, who left, he only made $7,737 for his performance-based play. Dak Prescott made only $10,540 because he got hurt, of course. So that's how that works out. But that hits this year's cap. So what are the Cowboys going to do with all of that? We have about $51.6 million on cap open. Let's just say $50 million on the cap open. Free agency is opening up. And of course, right now, we also get announced some compensatory picks for the Cowboys as we head into free agency. So what are the comp picks? Guys, the Cowboys picked up 4 draft picks and the 4 compensatory draft picks, which we had 6 already. That gives us 10 for this year. Again, almost too many draft picks. So we picked up 4 compensatory picks. We got 3 in the 5th round and 1 in the 6th. So the Cowboys now, as we get into free agency here, we got a total of 10 draft picks to kind of make trades if we want to, which we never really do with that. But we have with Stephon Gilmore a couple years ago, 2 years ago. Same thing with Brandon Cooks 2 years ago. We made some moves because we had about 10 picks to play with, and we traded a couple away to get Brandon Cooks, a veteran receiver, and Stephon Gilmore, a veteran cornerback. So will the Cowboys do that this offseason? We'll talk about it here in a minute. But I do want to say that we got these 10 picks, a first rounder, a second rounder, a third rounder. Mm-hmm. We got a 5th rounder. I'm sorry, we don't have a 4th rounder because I think we gave that up for Jonathan Mingo, believe it or not. But we do have a 5th rounder. And then not only do we have a 5th rounder, we got 3 top picks at the end of the 5th round, which we use wisely. A 6th rounder as our normal one, and then a 6th round comp pick. And then, of course, we got rid of our 7th rounder. But we did get one back from the Panthers. So we have a 7th rounder of the Panthers, which is basically an early 7th round pick, which is a late 6th rounder for the Cowboys. I guess it's not bad. We got it from the Panthers. So anyways, that's the way the Cowboys have the Cowboys 10 picks. Did we use any? We'll get to that towards the end of the stream, but let's get to our own guys. First and foremost, baby, let's go with special teams. Brandon Aubrey.
Special teams.
Brandon Aubrey had shoulder surgery. Thank goodness, nothing to do with his leg. He's ready to go for the offseason program.
Thank God.
So we're good there. TJ Goodwin, an ace on special teams, has re-signed with the Dallas Cowboys.
No surprises. Special
teams ace is back for 1 year. He's on a 1-year veteran salary benefit contract. Same thing he was on last year. I want you guys to understand that any player when I say a veteran salary benefit contract, that means they're getting a little more, but the Cowboys are not paying it on the cap. They're paying it in dollars and cash, but not on the cap, which is good. And we are getting hit less on the cap, even if we're paying him more. So it's a very good thing. Plus, they can be cut and then picked up without getting, like we cut these guys on cut down day and then pick them back up without having fear of losing them.
Exactly.
So these veteran contracts that we're getting, basically, they're called veteran salary benefit contracts, VSBs. These are
it's great for everybody because it works out for the players. Obviously, they get paid more. They're guaranteed,
and our cap gets hit
spot
less
on the team for the most part.
Well, no, it's not guaranteed a spot on their team, but yes, they get. You know what I'm saying? The thing is that there's a very low risk for both sides. Like the player gets a little more money, and they don't count against the team's cap. You can't lose. A win-win for both sides, at least on that side of things. So CJ Goodwin stays with the Cowboys on a very cheap deal, a minimum deal. And, we get to, play around with his spot whenever we want, which is good. Now, long snapper. Trent Sieg had a great year last year with us. He reached an agreement with the Cowboys. All this new space we have, and we re-signed CJ Goodwin to a base minimum salary, and Trent Sieg, a long snapper. 3 years, $4.45 million. It includes $3.1 million guaranteed. That's a lot for a long snapper. He also got a bonus $555,000. So basically, he hits the cap only on a 1.255 this year. Next year, 1.3. And in 2027, 1.34. So we got this guy for 3 years, long snapper, basically at a minimum deal. So, and he's a solid guy. He'll be here for those years. His 2026, next year's salary is guaranteed for injury and becomes fully guaranteed on the 5th day of that league year. So basically, he'll get all that money if he stays healthy, basically this year. And doesn't have any issues this year. He gets basically all 3 years. And we keep the special teams together. I mean, Aubrey's healthy. We got Trent Sieg, the snapper. We got CJ Goodwin. We've also re-signed Brian Anger. Great punter. A Pro Bowl punter for us. So we bring back Brian Anger. He agreed to a 2-year deal. He averaged 49 yards per punt in 4 years with the Cowboys and has been named to the Pro Bowl 2 times. 2 out of those 4
I mean,
years.
let's be real.
Solid.
We have done one very smart thing, at least, to
Special teams.
kick off the off season. Keep our special teams unit pretty much all together as far as the players.
Now, I just named 4 guys, but I got one more special teams player. And he's right there.
Hey.
Javonte Turpin, guys. Not just I would just say not just a special teams player. Obviously, much more of an offensive weapon last year. And I think the Cowboys are going to use him more on offense this year because we re-signed. He's a free agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Re-signed wide receiver / punt and kick returner, Javonte Turpin. We signed him on a 3-year deal. So he's staying in Dallas for 3 more years. The
Really
excitement
happy to hear
stays.
that.
Very happy. He got a 3-year deal. What's the count here? $13.5 million in 3 years. But he can max it out at $18 million.
Yeah, that definitely gives me more receiver than just like, special teams weapon type of vibes. Just throwing that out there.
He's also getting a bonus $3.6 million for signing bonus there. So in 2025, he's getting $1.4 million guaranteed.
Okay.
That's how much we're getting hit on the cap. $1.4 million. In 2026, $3 million. In 2027, $4 million. Now, I don't really see receiver in that, but I do see more receiver usage in that. I think I agree. I agree. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But he's here to return kickoff. Receivers that are, maybe on the 3rd or 4th receiver gets that money.
It's so it's more of you don't pay him that much to only use him on special teams. That's basically what it comes down to. Like, okay, like not saying he didn't earn it, but it wasn't only through special teams that he earned that money. Like you guys are saying here in the chat, like he definitely earned that money. It wasn't only, on special teams.
I know he was great on offense, and if he's used right on offense, even better. I just saw him pop on the screen. It was Skeptical fan with dropping a gifted membership. Who got that?
Scorpio.
Hey, Scorpio, back in the membership.
Thank you so much,
Navy
Skeptical
Blue
fan.
Crew.
Appreciate you. And saw that pop up there on the screen, and yes, Scorpio was the lucky winner that time.
Big shout out.
Drop him if you got him
to the man, Skeptical fan. And by the way, he's had 2 now. Gifted memberships tonight. And he's just like 5 or 6 back on first place. He's creeping and crawling up to the top.
Moving his way on up.
Dang, Skeptical. That's why you got to stay with this Cowboy team. So listen to this. Again, big shout out to Skeptical. John Luna, 98 points. And Javonte Turpin, a 3-year deal. $13.5 million, $18 million max. 3.6 of that 13.5 is a bonus. And I told you the bases, each year's cap hits on us. But here's the thing, guys. He has per game active roster bonuses that are worth $500,000 in 2025, 2026, 2027. So right there, $1.5 million. It's just being active on the roster.
Yes. If
he's active for 3 years, he gets $1.5 million. Each year, he gets $500,000 if he stays active. Those escalators, they total for basically a total of $3 million. The other escalators, you remember he got $13.5 million, but 18 he can max out. So you're seeing $1.5 million how he can almost get close to that max. What he's at? He's got $3 million left over. What's the other $3 million left over? He gets to $18 million if he hits this. It goes to the escalators of 2025 and 2026 seasons. They total both these years. I guess $1.5 million each year for receiving yards. If he has a certain number of receiving yards, he gets another $1.5 million each year. But that also includes not just that; it includes receptions and playoffs. So it's receptions, receiving yards, and playoffs. If we make all 3, if he hits his numbers on receptions, he hits his receiving yards, and we get the playoffs. You get in the playoffs. He makes an extra $1.5 million in 2025. Same thing in 2026.
So again,
2027, I don't think there's any escalator anymore.
So it basically does tie into his offensive usage.
Not the 13.5. The 13.5 is just returns. Yeah. In my mind, the extra $4.5 million, the extra incentives, that basically comes out of staying on the active roster, and then $3 million is all offense. So $3 million is really offensive laden. And I don't know his numbers yet. They don't have. I feel
like that's the best balance between.
Actually, I do have his numbers.
We're incentivized to use him, but we don't feel like obligated to try to fit him in there if we don't want to.
500 yards. Listen to this. If he gets 500 yards, this is for both years. If he gets 500 yards, $250,000. 700 yards, $500,000. 900 yards, $750,000. And this is this is just half of that. Yes. That'd be $750,000. I'm saying that's $1.5 million. The other side is in catches. 40 catches, 250 million, 250,000. I'm sorry, I keep saying million.
Mm.
500 yards, he gets 250,000. 700 yards, 500,000, and 900 yards, 750,000. He gets 40 catches. You think he get 40 catches? He gets $250,000. 50 catches, 500,000, and 60 catches, 700. So every 10 after that, he gets another
crazy
quarter,
numbers there.
$250,000. You know, this deal makes Turpin the highest paid special teams player in NFL history.
Good for him.
And we also got Calvin Richard on the board for the first time, I think, in 2025. My man, shout out to Calvin Richard. What did the man say with that $10 holla as he hits? If I'm not mistaken, that hits
yes, it does hit the target.
The target, yeah, the target on our goal.
If the Cowboys don't draft a wide receiver and a running back in the first 2 rounds, the season is already over. Unless a player that you just can't pass up like falls to them that isn't in those positions. So
interesting.
It's funny because one of the things that I said early on when we had some of these off-season discussions, right, when the wounds were still pretty fresh, and we talked about things that we wanted to see.
No one agrees with Kellen Richard right
now.
now.
Out there that I did feel like the biggest way to have a high impact first round player isn't to go offensive line, isn't to go D line or get a whatever. I said it. I'm like, you kind of have to go receiver, running back, or linebacker. Like those are the only 3 positions that I feel like, and to me, even linebacker has to kind of fall into that category that Calvin Richard just said. It's got to be a linebacker that falls to you that you just can't pass up. It can't just be like, oh, well, we really liked him and we kind of had him on. No. It's got to be a holy shit, we're about to get a Micah in the second round type of
like
shit.
A game changer, generation. Exactly. I hate saying the word generational, but generational type player. Yeah.
So that's the only way I see us kind of targeting that position. But I do feel like for the things that we currently need right now, and in order to have the most immediate impact, because clearly we kind of said it. You guys have said in the chat, we're going to get into it even more as we continue to talk about the things that have been happening Cowboy-wise when it comes to free agency, right? But we have made a few more moves and a few different types of moves than we normally would see from the Cowboys.
Changing a little bit with the times.
Will that be enough combined with their usual mentality of we're depending on the draft for those like big star players, those big kind of impact player moves? Are these rookies going to be able to have that big impact?
They have to. There's no choice. This is the way the Cowboys set it up. I don't know if they will or won't. But someone's got to step up, and I'm sorry, but,
Definitely, Scorpio, definitely will have some kind of mock draft element to our next live stream for sure.
Well, yeah, we're probably doing some mock draft stuff like in April, more so, yeah. A couple weeks away from mock draft and stuff. But, yeah, the end of April, guys, the draft, and we're on. It's on here. So, but I also want to push the current move, because to me, free agency is what determines the draft in some ways. Now, not in every way. Now, you're going to hear me talk about some guys we signed. And I'm going to still say, when I talk about linebackers, we can still grab a linebacker in the first or second round, even if we made a lot of moves at linebacker. You're going to hear me say, we can still grab a running back in the first round, even if we made a lot of moves at running back.
Yeah.
So we'll get to it. And Calvin Richard, 100% right. By the way, taking John Luna at CeeDee Lamb pointage.
That's right.
There, 88 points on the board. Shout out to Calvin Richard. I got you up on that board. He's again, this is a board that's been going on for basically about a month and a half. So, actually not a month. It's about a month. Yeah. So, it was ever changing and ever moving. We'll do another stream or 2. We'll close it off. Hey, Calvin Richard, another 5 on it. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, that hits the goal right there again. So we got a couple hits there, getting closer and closer. We got Skeptical, another 5. As he's going to jump into first place on the overall board, if I'm not mistaken. Shout outs to him. Calvin Richards, shout outs to him. Baby, why don't you say what they said?
Thank you. Back to back 5. So Calvin Richards with that $5 holler. He said, such as that linebacker from Penn State. You can't pass him up. A little bit ironic saying
Penn State
that.
Linebacker.
I have to be honest. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I'm not a big. That's the thing. I'll have to get the.
Is it Kobe King?
Maybe.
I think so. I think it's Kobe King. So
you get someone like that dropping to us in that 12 spot.
Yeah, confirm that for us there in the chat, Mr. Richard. Just to make sure we are talking about the right guy. But the point is that like I said, it has to. I hate to say it has to be the right guy, but it does have to fall the right way.
Of course, yeah.
And I do want to be specific. I just because I think the priority in the first round should be those 3 positions doesn't necessarily mean I think those are the first 3 positions we should draft in the draft. You know what I mean? I do still think that O-line, D-line is important, and one of those 2 has to be acquired in one of those first 3 rounds. I'm just looking at, okay, 2 of those 3 guys in those first 3 rounds need to be immediate impact. Like, they're going to be starters, if not starting, come week 1, week 2. At most. And that I'm being generous there, just nice to the third rounder, considering maybe that one needs a little more polishing.
You gave a great answer, and I can't really do better than that.
Skeptical fan with his $5 holiday.
I do want to say, actually, wait.
Go ahead.
Which skeptical?
Go ahead and respond to Calvin.
Actually, with skeptical fans drop, by the way, he's just pennies back on first place. My fault. I think he was in first, but he's basically almost tied for first place. When he dropped, I think basically puts him over. And I will answer that first question by Calvin Richard. That listen. He's basically echoing what you're saying. If there's a great, you both saying the same thing. If there's a great player up there, you can't pass up. You got to take him, a game changer. Anything else, you probably go running back, receiver. You need somebody who's going to be at those positions of the star position. I don't want to say star, but why is it leaving my brain right now? Basically,
okay, Abdul Carter, by the way.
Oh, Abdul Carter is the player.
There we go. Thank you, guys. Okay, appreciate that.
Abdul Carter is, if he drops down, any of these guys. Again, I'll do more research on these guys. I'm not a college guy, but linebacker, running back, receiver, that's top notch. That falls to us in that 12 spot. I don't think you can pass up. I don't care what's out there. We have so many holes, and these moves we made are just like temporary or backup depth kind of, or helping the starters kind of. They're not, no stars were signed. The biggest star is probably, one of them is probably the guy on your screen right now, Javonte Turpin. And I'll give you the other guy in a minute here as we get closer to it. But yes, Calvin Richard, I'm with you. If there's a star player, a stud out there, you go for him over anything, but very few of those out there. Mainly running back, the impact offensive player is what the Cowboys will probably be looking into. As I just read over what the Eagles did on offense and pour all that money in, still $18 million left over at the end of the Super Bowl. So yeah, great job for them there. And we got another drop by Calvin Richard. Now I think he puts him in a tie now with someone else there. So baby, I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump the gun here. I know that Skeptical dropping 5 on it.
Touch on Skeptical's comment, then I'll read Calvin Richard's comment. But Skeptical fan said with his $5 holiday saying, I keep hearing that Matthew Golden is the guy to get at receiver. So I know that's been definitely one of the names that's been tossed around quite a bit. Yeah. But, like I said, I want to evaluate all options just because I know that supposedly we were leaning more running back. And it's funny because I swear one of the early comments during the offseason was even, I think it was like Emmitt Smith saying, like, no, please, like, let's not get a running back or something. And people were like a little surprised.
Yeah. Well, again, times have quote unquote changed. But then we saw what happened with Barkley.
So
and the Eagles, right? So after Barkley and the Eagles, now people are like, running back again, So
let's kind of see, because I feel like that would be right up the Cowboys' alley, and at least according to Schottenheimer as well, I know some of the things that he's alluded to is, do not dismiss the run game.
Remember, no
now
Brandon
that
Cooks.
I'm running things.
But remember, no Brandon Cooks. You got Tolbert.
Yeah.
So I think you have a bigger. Well, we'll talk about this. I want to get to it. But we got Turpin, who's like our 5th guy right now, receiver. Well, he's gonna move up the board here. Probably be our 4th or 3rd guy, possibly. A lot more usage or situational situations, situational plays. You're going to see Javonte Turpin.
Final thing we'll say here is Calvin Richard's $5 holiday comment saying Abdul Carter. He plays defensive end zone, but he also wears the same number as Micah. So again, coming out of the same school as Micah, Penn State there.
Similar movement, similar kind of player.
Maybe that's one of the things that the Cowboys decide to do, and not just that, but what better way to get the most usage out of Micah than to have him here, maybe tag him, have his future replacement ready to go, learning underneath
him. Just in case, I guess it's an option there. But the thing is that remember, that's linebacker university over there.
It is.
Penn State University. They're known for linebackers, so not a surprise that we get someone like Abdul in there, for Abdul Carter. We will be very happy. People here.
You have to imagine they also would work very well together.
Oh yeah. Well, again, Micah and him would be probably attackers from the middle and to the edges. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to see who's available. We're gonna talk about the draft stuff very soon. Promise you guys. But
let's try to keep it focused on what tag have our Cowboys been doing so far.
The funny thing is, I've been talking about all these moves. Zack Martin gone. Yes. Some of our own guys are re-signing, but haven't talked yet about the free agent portion of things, which is kind of the grand finale. But again, we did a couple trades, and some guys from free agents, some not from our team.
Yeah.
One guy from another team that we had on our team. So we'll talk about it all here in a moment, and I'll go through it by position groupings. But right now, I want to do our players, and I'm doing special teams where we're fading into the offense here. But I wanted just to reiterate the highest paid special teams player in NFL history is now Javonte Turpin. And it's official. I said it before, maybe. But yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Oh, Calvin Richard, by the way, breaks a tie in his current position there. And it's a three-way tie, and he jumps into fourth place all by himself. Calvin Richard with a $2 holler. What did the man say?
If he falls to 12, that would be great.
Grab him immediately. And trust me, with the way the Cowboys have set things up, this is going to go into our free agent conversations. I don't like to talk about the draft until free agency.
I know.
But the way Cowboys have set up this free agency right now, and that's why I'm glad we're kind of doing it now, because we see what we're going to do in the draft a little better. And I think exactly what Calvin Richard said and what you said, it's going to be about that impact offensive skill position, which is, okay, quarterback, no, but receiver or running back immediately stands out, especially receiver, in my opinion. And then when you look at and defense, you look at an impact player that can just change your defensive mindset and style, add it in there with other stars we have in there like Micah. It's a no-brainer in my mind.
And if you do want to believe some of the many rumors that have been going around out there, who the heck knows what's actually true, but supposedly there was one of them that said that the Cowboys are interested in maybe moving up a little bit in the draft, and we're talking to a few teams. So, I don't know.
Grain of salt.
Yeah.
Guys.
That's why I said,
I will say the Cowboys.
Rumors.
Well, I agree, but the Cowboys have been doing things differently, so maybe they will do something differently in that sense. But at the same time, I'm not holding my breath because we know the Cowboys, when they make moves, it's usually, pitiful. Yeah. So, again, right now, as I'm going through this, I hope you guys are liking it so far because these are the moves the Cowboys have made. Now, Turpin on offense, we thought about $3 million. $1 million a year, bonus, I guess you could say, is what he can make if he gets those offensive numbers. Sticking with offense, maybe. Who else did the Cowboys sign? Dakota Shepley, offensive tackle, signed to a 2-year deal. I know, you're like, what? Yeah, guys, Dakota Shepley, who actually works out with the Cowboy offensive lineman, works out at O-line masterminds. He's an integral part of the practice squad crew there. So Dakota Shepley was on our active roster a bunch of times this past season. So do not sleep on Shepley, but he is more of a backup depth guy, practice squad kind of up, guy we elevate for games as a backup center. Also, Brock Hoffman was also re-signed. I know we all wanted number 67 back here.
Yes.
Brock Hoffman, who did a great job as a backup. That's 2 solid backups, plus TJ Bass, who will become a backup in a moment, and I'll explain why. Because right now he would take over for Zack Martin. So those are our offensive guys of our own that we signed. And you see we focus mainly, of course, on Turpin, who's a special teams guy, all these special teams players. Turpin, who's more special teams, but a little offensive runoff. And then offensive linemen, depth, which is Shepley and Hoffman from our own squad. Now, who else do we get on the defensive side from our own team?
Yeah.
Wanye Thomas back in the mix, back in the fold, which we love.
Happy about that.
Very good. Also, Tyrus Wheat, defensive edge rusher, who's been on our roster 1 year, almost the whole year, another year as a practice squad elevated.
Yeah.
Tyrus Wheat, the Cowboys love him. He's on our team as an exclusive rights free agent, which means he's very cheap, $1.03 million.
Yeah, I have no strong feelings there.
Yeah, that's basically a practice squad guy who's going to be a guy who can produce I'll say 53-man roster backup ability with Tyrus Wheat. So we're good with Tyrus Wheat. We got Wanye Thomas. And we got Marquise Bell. Love number 41, Marquise Bell. He played linebacker a whole season for Dan Quinn 2 years ago. Last year did great back. All over the place. With Wanye Thomas at safety, Marquise Bell, and the Cowboys agreed to a 3-year deal with a max value of $12 million. So it's $4 million max a year if you look at it that way. 3 years, and $9 million is guaranteed. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. 3 years for $9 million. He's getting $3 million a year. But only 6.2 is guaranteed. So basically, he's only guaranteed 2 years of his base with the Cowboys. $2.5 million is a bonus. And when it comes to what is the base hit on our cap, this year it's $1.2 million for Marquise Bell. So that's a great deal.
Of course.
$1.5 million next year. Both those numbers are guaranteed. And 2027, if he's still on the team, $2.3 million. That means he's a starter. We're keeping a Marquise Bell as a starter here for $2.3 million.
Honestly, I'm hoping that ends up being like one of the better moves in the sense of like, he's the type of guy that every single time he's usually out there, good
He's
things are
making things
happening.
happen.
So excellent bang for our buck,
Yeah, I mean,
so to speak.
and listen,
Real
he
quick,
also, yeah, I'm sorry. Go
Calvin
ahead.
Richards with his $2 holler, saying, after all, Lamb and Diggs fell to us, if I
Yep,
recall.
yep. Listen, it's gonna
Saying
be.
that, you never know. Maybe
Yep.
you don't have to make the types of moves to move up in the draft because
I don't
the
think you
guy
have
that
to.
you want is going to fall to you,
One of
especially
them
because
will.
we are higher up in the draft this year, even if
Yeah.
we are out of the top 10,
I think there's so many good players that are going to be kind of bunched up there. If we have so many openings of players that we want to bring in, like a running back, a receiver,
Yeah.
an offensive lineman, a
It's
defensive
gonna be
lineman,
a miss type
right,
of
you're gonna
draft.
one of them will fall through. One of them will fall to us. I don't know the name. I don't know what position, but one of them will fall to us. Will the Cowboys draft them? That's a whole different question. But one of them will fall to us, Calvin. Much love. Great comments from Calvin tonight as he's just trying to keep crawling up the
Yeah.
board here, trying to pass John Luna now on that third place spot there, I think. But right now, he knocked John Luna to 69 points on the Stream Boss. But finishing the Marquise Bell stuff here, baby, he's getting he gets basically every year $500,000 per game rosters. So that's some of the incentive that he gets. Some of the incentives in that extra $3 million, $500,000 of that per year. So basically half of $3 million,
Yeah.
$1.5 million are based off of per game roster. If he's on the roster, it builds up. He's on the roster the whole year. That's about injuries.
That's how much he gets.
He gets $500,000 that year. He also gets $1.5 million in escalators based on playtime and playoffs combined, along with interceptions. So again, playtime, playoffs, interceptions, and only playoffs in 2026 and 2027. So again, it looks like it's just the first couple of years is going to be based on, if he gets a certain number of interceptions and his playtime, and then the second part of his years is going to be based on, what do you call it? Interceptions and playoffs. So great deals across the board for really signing cheap guys. And I'm gonna say like this: Wanya Thomas, Marquise Bell, both undrafted.
Exactly.
So we're getting undrafted guys almost starting for us. I hate saying that because I don't know who we're gonna have. Remember, we don't have any safeties back there. We don't have Malik Hooker; he's gone. We don't have. I'm just saying we what's his name? I think that what's his name? Oh shit! How can I forget his name? The other safety that Malik Hooker and how can I forget his name?
Yeah, I almost said Marquise Bell for a second,
No,
just because we just talked about
man,
it.
I can't believe I forgot his name. We got him.
Fowler. No,
we got him in the sixth round some years
Wilson.
back. Yeah, no, not Wilson, but man, what can I? Wilson, yeah,
Wilson.
Donovan Wilson. Yeah, the thing is that when we had him back there, I think both guys are gone. So I'm pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but my point is, you have the guys coming in there. I smell it in the room already that Wanya Thomas and Marquise Bell are starting to head towards maybe being starters. And then another deal we made was Israel Mukuamu. That was like today. Guys, we signed Israel Mukuamu, who I like, but now he's the third safety now. So we got these two safeties plus him, without Donovan Wilson and without Malik Hooker.
Yeah.
We just kept three safeties: Wanya Thomas, Marquise Bell, and Israel Mukuamu. Signed him. We re-signed him to only a 1-year deal. All right. So last year, Mukuamu saw his most action on defense. He had 200 snaps in 17 games. Remember, he got a performance escalator of $400,000. So that means he played a lot more than expected on his contract. So he outplayed his contract, so to speak. Cowboys said after a couple weeks of free agency, after a week and a half free agency, said, you know what? We'll sign you back on a 1-year deal. Don't know the numbers yet, but you can bet it's probably not going to be too much.
Yeah.
Mukuamu came into the league with experience at safety and cornerback from college. Played the nickel at cornerback for the Cowboys with Quinn for a little bit. And now with Jordan Lewis gone to the Jaguars, you might see Mukuamu. And I'll go back to Jordan Lewis. He's with the Jaguars, and he left.
Talk about that in a sec. Yeah.
But Mukuamu now could also play some of that slot ability that he showed under Dan Quinn. Not last year, but the year before that with Dan Quinn in the playoffs. So, or going into the playoffs. When we played, some of those last final games, Mukuamu had a great end of the year. I think he played against the Bucks, a great game in the playoffs against the Bucks and Brady. So he can play that slot, and he can play that cornerback slot, and he can play safeties. So the versatility for Eberflus is the reason why I think he's staying here on a cheap 1-year kind of prove it deal. And I think without Jordan Lewis around, it's going to earn him some more playing time. He had 200 snaps last year. He may get 400 this year overall on the field, whether it's safety or corner. I'm talking about that nickel slot corner. He's 6'4". It makes it difficult to cover wide receivers that are small, but a bigger guy with his length and instincts help out a lot, whether smaller or big guys. So I like the Israel Mukuamu, the Marquise Bell signing, the Wanye Thomas signing. I like these guys, but again, I got to remind you all, these guys are either very low. Mukuamu was low in the draft. The other guys were undrafted, and these are the guys we're putting on the field as possible starters at safety. I hope Eberflus is cool with that because he's going to have to deal with that. The last guy I'm going to talk about, that stays with the Cowboys, that is a Cowboy. This is the biggest deal that we made so far that I've been talking about. Osa Odighizuwa.
Ooh, can you dig it?
Odighizuwa. He's back, guys, to the Cowboys. And he's a guy some people can say, no need. He doesn't scare anybody. And some people say, listen, this guy can do everything. So he's got possibilities. It won out. He could do anything, is what the Cowboys decided. Mm-hmm. And the Cowboys agreed to a 4-year, $80 million deal for Osa Odighizuwa to play defensive tackle. It includes a $20 million bonus, and out of that $80 million, $52 million is guaranteed. This deal comes before that franchise tag deadline, and it actually came before free agency began. So the Cowboys wanted to lock him up. They didn't want to tag him. They wanted to sign him, and they got him signed. 4 years, $80 million, $52 million guaranteed. Signing bonus, $20 million. The base hit this year, base salary, $1.7 million. $1.75 million. That's it. Not even $2 million. That's a steal for Osa this year. It opens up salary cap room this season. But next year, $16.25 million. The year after that, 2027, $20 million. And in 2028, $20 million.
Which is fine because I'm sure they'll restructure and do the other typical type of moves and, end up making that number not hurt as bad.
Osa's got to pan out.
But the point is that
Osa doesn't pan out. It's a big, more dead money in the future.
Exactly.
And so, major risk by the Cowboys. It's kind of like a flip the coin. If he pans out, $20 million is cheap. If you don't pan out much more than he's already done, then it's going to be $20 million. It's like, yeah, you overpaid a little bit. You overpaid some.
I have to be honest. So, I'm actually a fan of this move. Just throwing that out there.
Well,
I think it was smart. I like the timing of it. I feel like this is one of the few times that the Cowboys were potentially early and aggressive in a good way. Well, I feel like it strikes the right balance between we paid him what I think he's earned and deserved, but I also don't feel like we're getting swindled here.
Well, again,
but like you said, obviously a lot of that comes down to
I think
does he end up playing for us or not?
What do you mean?
Staying healthy.
Oh, well, yeah, but he's been healthy. That's not the problem with him. To me, it's more about Eberflus. Eberflus must have seen something that he liked in him.
True.
And wants to keep him for some kind of, because Osa's very quick off the line of scrimmage. He's a good kind of, more of a, I guess he's quick off. He's got the wrestling movements. He can stop the run. He's
about
quick.
Dallas, so that they were willing to basically believe in that vision.
Well, I think it's more. I think it's two things. Like Eberflus might have said, "I like him," but where did he get him from? We get him from another team. Oh no, we drafted him. And not only that, we went back in the draft, got the extra pick from the Eagles in the third round, and got Osa Odighizuwa with that pick. Do you think that Jerry Jones might have maybe said in his mind, no matter what, we got to keep him? We got to make it look good because we got this deal from the Eagles, and we got to make it look like, look, Eagles, we got you twice.
Sure.
We went back and got Micah, and we still got Osa. We went back, got Osa, and still got Micah. So I'm just saying, this sounds stupid and childish, but that's the way the Joneses work. So listen, I'm not sold on this deal. Okay. It's a decent deal. It's not horrible, but I want to say this: $500,000 active bonuses each year, with the first 2 years of those active bonuses guaranteed out of 2 of those 4 years. $13 million of the 13 million of the 20. What is it? Of the $20 million in 2027, $13 million of that is guaranteed for injury and becomes fully guaranteed on the 5th day of 2027's league year.
Okay.
And he also has years in the 2029, 30, and 31, but those are void years to throw that money into those years. So we're looking to throw some of this money is going to be restructured into 2029, 30, and 31. So when Jerry Jones says, no, we don't have the money, you can say, but that's why we have these void years, Jerry. Yes, this money is not going to hurt us now. It's going to hurt us in 2029, 30, and 31. I don't know if I'll be alive. My point is that's when it's going to hurt us. And it's going to hurt us minimally because it's going to be to pay, $15 million in dead money. It's not that much in those years at that point because the cap is going to be set at $400,000.
I'm
So
surprised that we're on
not a big
slightly
deal.
different sides of this
Really?
when it comes to this contract. But hey,
I don't
like
mind
not in a
it.
bad
It's
way,
not
just in a, like
horrible. It's just
I'm
I'm
surprised.
not disgusted. It's not great. You liked it a lot more than I did.
Yeah,
Hey, Lavelle in the house dropping that $2 holla. What did the man say?
he said Wilson and Hooker are not free agents.
They're still on the team. Shit. Okay, I gotta read. Okay, actually, I was about to get to that now. Literally. Let me see here. You're right. Actually, they're not free agents. They're still on this team, and we have not cut them. So we got all 5 safeties. Plus, I guess Mukwamu is a safety slash
Yeah.
nickel corner. Thank
Still
you.
doesn't
Thank you.
mean that some of these guys that we brought back, couldn't be taking a more active, starting, participating
No, they
role.
definitely got.
You know,
They got. Listen, they signed Mukwamu to take some more of those nickel corner snaps, but also he can take up some of that safety stuff he needed. He also, I do believe Marquise Bell and Wanya Thomas. Wanya Thomas more of the backup, but Marquise Bell more of a starter type. I think the Cowboys have plans to use him. I don't know if this is going to be set yet with Donovan Wilson back there. I think he'll stay, but I think someone like Malik Hooker could definitely be gone. We'll wait and see what
I'm
happens.
just gonna
Right now, he's
say,
still here. He's still here, though. He's
I'm
still here.
also gonna state the obvious. When it comes to all the defensive positions, safeties, they drew the short straw when it comes to the
Hmm.
Dallas Cowboys and the way we run our defense
That is
because
true.
we've invested in the D line, we've invested in linebackers, we've invested in the corners. But when it comes to safety, it's just kind of like, oh, we lucked out that the few scrubs we got are not as bad as we thought they were going to be.
Yeah, and a lot of it comes in,
Not to be
how
mean.
how they've been developed, how have they been able, so look, we have 5 good,
Yeah.
strong safeties. And I don't say strong safety. I mean healthy safeties, good safeties back there in
Yes.
the mix. How will we use them? We got 5 of them, but one can be also playing corner. So
And
it's
thank
in
you guys
Eberflus's
there.
hands.
Appreciate
Yes,
you, Mr. Lavelle.
yes. I see Cowboys are brought in the house. What's
Yeah,
up
he
there?
said Jerry picked up some free agents. He must have got hit by a garbage truck. That's not like him.
I know.
And
We're gonna get
Skeptical
to them in
fan,
a
real
minute.
quick, just asked,
Yeah.
like, what's the timeline for the Diggs, Overshone, and Sam Williams, like, injuries? Well, I know Overshone is expected to be back, a little bit after training camp, if I'm not mistaken. I think Trayvon Diggs as well initially was supposed to be back.
I don't think so. They're gone until the end
But
of the year. Like they're gone until like the middle of the season. I think for sure Trayvon Diggs. I think he's gone until at least some into the season. Trayvon Diggs, without
I
question.
thought Overshone was expected to be back, like, training camp early part of the season, if I'm
Maybe
not
I think you
mistaken.
forgot that he tore it. He tore himself. He's gonna be out maybe 2 years. I mean, it was. You don't remember how bad it was?
True, I guess his was a really serious injury. I thought it was Trayvon Diggs who had,
No,
like, the
he got injured at the end
initially.
of the year. That's the problem. So at the end of the
Okay.
year, I mean, it's going to push his injury thing to come back into the season. He's going to be four weeks into the season if we're lucky.
Yeah.
I heard it's going. I think the way we discussed it, it's going to be closer into like half a season missed.
Okay.
So we're fucked at
So,
cornerback's a spot we got to look at.
and
Anyway.
Sam Williams, the only thankful part
He'll be
there is
back.
that he got
Yeah.
hurt so early
Yeah.
into the
He'll be back.
preseason.
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
breaking it down, Sam Williams 100% will be back.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? He'll be back, ready to go, I'm pretty sure, during training camp. But the other guys, no. I don't expect Diggs or Overshone ready at all for training
Yeah, I
camp
could've
or the
sworn-
start
yeah,
of the season.
and
I know
I'm
I know it's been a
gonna-
while, but
I'm going to recheck that, but I could have sworn that Trayvon Diggs had an actual setback, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I thought
think
he
those-
had some kind of a setback
I
with
think
his knee injury.
I don't. You have to check that. I'm not
So-
sure. I think it's more of they didn't like the way he was preparing to get back into the
Okay.
mix of things when he got hurt. He had a setback when he was trying. He got hurt during the season, baby. He missed a couple weeks, and they didn't like the way he was kind of working himself back. He got back in there, played a couple games, got hurt, and now he's getting towards it. Now he's out for maybe a whole year. So I mean, into this season now. Anyways, as I continue this, Osa's money, guys. I don't really have much of a problem with it. When you look at the overall cap hit, his base money is 1.75 this year, but his cap hit is 6.25. That's not bad. I don't have a big issue with a 6.25 hit with Osa, but I have a bigger issue with the $20 million hits coming in the next 3 years. The good thing about his deal is that he has those voidable years that if we get stuck with eat the money, we can push it forward, and even without the player, it won't be a complete loss because we'll be able to avoid some of the pain. By the way, the way Howie Roseman does it, we can avoid the pain by throwing it into the voidable years. And that's all I wanted. Voidable years, and I'm cool with it. It makes the deal a lot more stomachable when it comes to Osa and the risk we're going to have on him. So, did you find anything on Overshone?
I'm looking into it right now, so give me like 2 more seconds.
Because I wanted your opinion on some of the guys that left our team. And one of those guys we just talked about, Jordan Lewis, guys, he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And whatever he got paid there is not going to be anything he was going to get paid in Dallas. Chuma Edoga, offensive lineman, also following Jordan Lewis to Jacksonville and the Jaguars. So both Jordan Lewis, cornerback, Chuma Edoga, offensive tackle, both headed to Jacksonville. Chauncey Golston, a guy we liked there with Osa. Chauncey Golston went to the New York Giants. So he knows about us. He's going to be in New York. And Chauncey Golston had a great year in 2024. We'll see how if he can continue to develop or not with the Giants, or will he just is this his pinnacle he just hit? We'll see. The Cowboys said, go ahead and get paid in New York because we ain't paying you. Rico Dowdle, guys. We're gonna talk about some moves we made, some players that we picked up. But the Cowboys said after we picked up Williams and Sanders, we knew we were going to keep no Rico Dowdle on this team. We were going to ask for too much money, and I'll explain to you exactly what happened. Rico Dowdle ended up going to the Carolina Panthers, guys. We literally traded their running backs for our running backs, and I'll explain. Sanders and Williams. Sanders.
Chris, by the way.
Chris,
super quick, overshown update. Not to interrupt you here, but I finally found it here. So it's actually more on the positive side. So, like I said, he is expected to be back, but you were right. It wasn't going to be until a little bit into the season. The thing is that he had mentioned earlier during the offseason, basically like, oh, it's not going to be in December or whatever, like, watch out. And some of us were maybe a little more skeptical of that, but the good thing is he was actually recently spotted without crutches about a day or two ago, and that's actually kind of early in his recovery process to be seen for that. So, he is leaning, like, he is going to miss the beginning of the season, and it's a good chance that we might not see him till halfway into the season, but it's definitely not going to be one of those, like, oh, we see him week 16.
Right.
Out of 18,
hobbling on that field, he should be strong to go by midseason.
So
overshown.
At least we have
Diggs,
a little bit of something to see there.
I can tell you though, Diggs is definitely on the other side.
Yeah,
Diggs was injured much later into the season.
And, Diggs is looking like he could potentially be out for
the whole season.
Yeah, he's looking more like a week.
And not the kind of, I don't know if it's gonna piss people off or not, but I don't know that I'm not gonna put it into the rumors. But I am hearing some things out there. The Cowboys may be interested in maybe letting Diggs go. Cutting him. That's how bad this injury is.
Not too happy.
Sign this guy, then he gets injured, tears his knee, and next year tears his knee again. Incredible. So, anyways, back to the guys that have left us. I don't know if I know you were looking that up, but I talked about Jordan Lewis, Jacksonville. Chuma Edoga, offensive lineman, Jacksonville. Chauncey Golston, he went to the Giants. Mm-hmm. And then Rico Dowdle went to the Carolina Panthers, which, like I said, Miles Sanders came to us. He went to the Eagles. He was the Panthers. I want to talk about him, but basically we traded for Miles Sanders with Rico Dowdle. And that's basically what it comes out to. But here's the key. Again, Rico Dowdle went to the Panthers on a 1-year deal. That deal is worth a minimum of $3 million, but he has incentives that go as high as $6.5 million. That's a little too much for the Jerry Jones blood, I think. And you'll see why in a minute. We also had Cooper Rush, who is going to be the backup to Lamar Jackson, guys. He's headed to the Baltimore Ravens. Cooper Rush, that's like apples and that's like completely different. That's like polar opposites.
I know.
Because if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, they got to have a whole new game plan for Cooper Rush. I don't know what their plan is over there, but that's scary to me. They're paying Cooper Rush a 2-year deal worth $12.2 million, $6.1 million per year average. They can have him.
I don't know what they saw in him.
They can a guy who can manage the clock.
You know what's funny? You know what it is? It's not even that. It's one of the reasons that we, liked him back in the early days or whatever, is that he was good at not just that, but like managing the run game and things like that. So like, if they have even a somewhat mediocre running back there, if for whatever reason Lamar Jackson is not able to play, I think Cooper Rush can at least do that for Ravens. That's the only thing I can possibly come up with, because I still feel like that's extremely overpaid for doing that. But hey, what do I know?
Look,
backup quarterbacks are, I guess the market's up for them too.
No, listen, when the salary cap went up as much as it did, like $35 million, every position is going to go up.
Yeah.
That includes backup quarterbacks. So that's Cooper Rush. He's over there with them. And the last guy we lost, as of right now, is Demarcus Lawrence. He was going to the Seattle Seahawks. I'll get to him in a minute. I just want to quickly go over the other names that are free agents for us that are not signed yet. So these are free agents of ours that we have not re-signed and have not signed with any other team. Brandon Cooks, we voided his deal. He's gone. Trey Lance, Jerry's guy, quarterback, not re-signed with anyone. Eric Kendricks, linebacker. Linville Joseph, who I like, not re-signed with anyone. Nick Vigil, linebacker, not re-signed. Darius Harris, Amani Uruari, Carl Lawson, and Carlos Watkins. None of these guys I say I have to go get. But I will say Trey Lance, will be surprised we get him on a cheap deal now. Like $1 million, $2 million a year to be the backup. Don't be surprised because Jerry wants to look good in that horrible 4th-round trade we just gave away.
You don't want to lose face there.
I don't think Kendricks is back after I'll talk about the linebacker moves. But guys like Nick Vigil could always come back as special teams kind of, 8th-string linebacker. Yeah. Someone like Linville Joseph could definitely come back if needed something inside. But none of these guys are definite, I got to have these guys. None of them. Not one of them. Brandon Cooks, he ain't coming back. So when I talk about Demarcus Lawrence, there's a reason why. I got to kind of stop before I get to the free agent stuff on our side. And I promise you that's the final portion. But Demarcus Lawrence is having a little drama going on, and that's because we have one of...
Save the drama for his mama.
No, Micah Parsons said, hold up. And again, you guys let me know what you think. Because, as you know, the Cowboys' longest tenured remaining player after Zack Martin left, 11 years, was Demarcus Lawrence. And now he's gone. 4-time Pro Bowl edge rusher Demarcus Lawrence signed a 3-year contract with the Seattle Seahawks worth up to $42 million.
Yep.
3 years. It's $18 million of that is guaranteed. Cowboys are not going to give into that, although that we are eating some of his contract. So with the departure of Demarcus Lawrence, and Zack Martin, 11 years and 10 years, whatever they are, 9 years.
Does that mean Dak is now?
The 3 longest tenured players are Dak Prescott, 2016, CJ Goodwin, 2018, and Donovan Wilson, 2019.
Damn, those are like painful words. Like I don't even.
Yeah, I don't know what to say either. Dak Prescott, C.J. Goodwin, and Donovan Wilson. A guy I thought was going to be gone. A guy who's a special teams player only on a veteran minimum benefit salary, and Dak Prescott. Those are the only guys that have been here longer. Now, those are our longest guys. That's it. Zack Martin gone. Demarcus Lawrence gone. Dak is the old daddy on the team now. So Demarcus Lawrence went to Seattle. He was interviewed when he was over there. And he said, quote, Dallas is my home, but I know for sure I was not going to win a Super Bowl there. Oh, wow. Damn. So Micah Parsons saw that and retweeted that and quoted saying, this is what rejection and envy looks like. This is some clown shit. With the clown emoji.
Damn, well, the clownery is starting to infect the players.
Yeah, man, the Jerry Jones clown show is on the road, guys. And then Demarcus Lawrence said, hold up. He said, quote, calling me a clown won't change the fact that I told the truth. Maybe if you spent less time tweeting and more time winning, I wouldn't have left. End quote. Ooh, man.
Okay.
And that kind of was a mic drop situation, but we weren't winning with Demarcus Lawrence either, by the way.
Yeah, that's when we first were having that discussion there in the chat, that was basically what I kind of said. I'm like, he's not wrong. Let's be real, but to act like you weren't part of like you didn't actively contribute to that, don't be silly here. Because now you're just putting that clown makeup on your whole face.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Any other comments about this in the chat? Now we can move on to the free agent final portion.
Skeptical fan cracking me up. He said, so now that the Seattle Seahawks have Demarcus Lawrence, they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Probably. Probably. You know how that goes.
The dude said, what D-Law said wasn't a lie. Micah clapping back was just him standing up for the team, but I'm okay with it either way.
I don't have an issue with it either way. It's just a little drama.
With you, the dude. Definitely with you there. Like, both sides can definitely say what they have to say. Demarcus Lawrence isn't 100% wrong with some of his commentary there. But again, Micah's not 100% wrong either.
Yeah, agree.
John Luna, what is that?
Hey, the man John Luna in the house. Big appreciation to the man John Luna. By the way, extra special thanks to him. Sponsor of the week 6 times. He's there with 67 points on the Stream Boss, almost hanging out on that green. Mm-hmm. And he's also the membership gifting champion for 6 straight times in a row. So we bow down to the great John Luna. If you read what it says there for the sponsor of the week, you know what I'm saying? And if you read what we have in the description, please make sure to give a little love and send a little love out to Mr. John Luna and his longtime friend, Charlie.
Mr. Charlie.
Yeah, he asked all, if anyone wants to help on Charlie's behalf, donation to the Highlands Little League club in Highlands, Texas, in Charlie Rylander's name. Again, they had their field maintenance equipment stolen after Hurricane, I think, Beryl last year, if I'm not mistaken. So Cash App is in the description. Big shout outs to you, John Luna, for all the love and help here on the channel. And I truly hope that you know things can heal in time. I know it never passed. Trust me, I know we've had loss here as well.
And hopefully that is a blessing to Charlie's memory.
Yes, for sure.
So,
for sure.
Thank you, Mr. Luna.
Mr.
There.
Luna, big shout outs to him.
Kind of touching on a few of the more other D-Law comments.
Yes.
Right before we shouted out Mr. Luna there, of course, his due. Aztec Aguilar 04 said, coming from the guy who said after that Green Bay loss, "Oh, we were tired." Oh, Thomas Garrett, what's
exactly.
The dude also pointing out Super Bowl contenders weren't interested in D-Law. Cowboys Abroad said D-Law was paid to help us win, and he was part of the failure. His poor play in the playoffs is part of the reason that we didn't. Exactly.
We never were winning with Demarcus Lawrence.
And Scorpio also pointing out when Micah joined the team and took over, there was always some bad blood between Lawrence and Micah because Lawrence, saw Micah taking over as the leader, and there was that power struggle.
Remember what died as soon as Demarcus Lawrence came. I mean, as soon as Micah came on the team, the Hot Boys. The Hot Boys died. That's it. No more Hot Boy shit.
Yep.
Once Micah came in
said Lawrence is wrong, but he should have spoke up to Jerry and Steven.
Well, he should have spoke up. I mean, he says he said it in the locker room, but obviously he never really was a big speaker. He wasn't really a leader, Demarcus Lawrence. He was a big shit talker in front of the cameras. It was all fake. So
I kind of agree with Cowboys Abroad. I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't expect him to just so quickly start trashing the Cowboys, and definitely not what he was saying just a few weeks ago when he was still technically a Cowboy.
Yeah, agree.
Right?
Agree, Cowboys Abroad.
What's up?
It is surprising.
Appreciate you. Much love there. So he said, I saw someone said his home is in Dallas, but they won't win a Super Bowl. And that's exactly what he said.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cowboys Abroad. Disappointed in the comments. John Luna,
because you know what's going to happen in 3 years when he retires, right? He's going to retire. He's going to want to come back and claim all that sweet, sweet Cowboy nostalgia and glory and all that stuff because Dallas is his home and the Cowboys were his team or whatever. He's going to have his cake and eat it too. Jerry will probably forgive him. You know how it goes.
You know how that shit goes. So that's awesome. By the way, Skeptical fan, drop a little love for John Luna's friend there and their little league. So awesome stuff there. Much love, John Luna. I mean, it's a family thing here. My Cowboys family. Even if you're not a fan of the Cowboys, if you're on this channel, we respect your love for your team. We also all here together, family. That's what we do. Even if we come together, even if it was a month last time, it's been a rough month with a lot of work, a lot of overtime, a lot of stuff, a lot of after dark. You know what I mean? On my side, but we definitely going back to routine here. And maybe a monthly or a couple week by week. Was it bi-weekly? I guess twice a month. We might go live until we get to, of course, the draft and closer, which is in April.
The thing about football, and it's funny too. It's a very small industry for the most part. There's not that many players and that many coaches when you really think about it from a job perspective. Just a few thousand. That's not that many. That's not a big pool of employees and people. So you piss off somebody, they're gonna remember, and you're probably gonna bump into them again in some capacity. Yeah. So just saying.
Yeah. So anyways,
and thank you, Thomas Garrett, Hold on,
Thomas Garrett,
Scorpio, John Luna,
the crew's here.
Brought all you guys here in the chat.
Yeah, don't forget.
Hit like, guys. Take a second, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell.
It's been a while since I said that.
Yes, you guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere at MyCowboysFamily, of course. Hop in the Discord. Link for that is also in the description box. We're
gonna keep it rolling here. Because Demarcus Lawrence, got the. I don't want to even get too much in the drama. We got it out of our system. Whatever. Who cares? I am disappointed, but at the same time, I would love to see Demarcus Lawrence do better. But in the end, he's called. He's not 100% wrong, but also we weren't doing no winning before Demarcus Lawrence. You know what I'm saying? Was here with us. We weren't doing any winning when he was with us before. Now he's gone. Now he's going to call us out for not winning. Mm-hmm. John Luna in the house. I just looked up and said, big shout outs. He got 20 points back on that board with a $20 holler. By the way, one of our new players is wearing number 20. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be calling it the Elam drop. Elam drop in the house, a $20 holler. I'll talk about that because the rest of the stream are new players. Well, one guy who's not a new player, who's come back, but everybody else new players to the Cowboy team, and never have we had so many players new in like what, maybe 15 years.
Yeah,
we had so many new players so fast on this team. We'll talk about it, and not the greatest players, but new players.
But
John Luna in the house.
You know what he said with this $20 Elam drop?
What did he say?
Just showing a little support. Please keep up the great work and content. I absolutely love y'all's channel content and all your members. So
thank
you,
brother.
Mr. Luna. Appreciate you again. We really are very lucky to have one of the greatest football communities here in our little corner of the world. Because again, it's hard being a Cowboy fan, especially these days, right? It's been a while since we succeeded, but our fandom, we can't help it but to bleed blue for our team. And that means we have to come in here and discuss everything that's been going on with them, the good, the bad, the ugly.
No matter what.
Breaking it down and pointing out all the things that they maybe could be doing that could succeed. And still cheering them on.
Listen, fandom never dies.
Yep.
It's that star of everything for us. I know you guys are the team. But here's the thing. I do have to say one thing. I have to do my due diligence here.
Of course.
Shout out to John Luna, who now 87 points, but also still in third place. Because he's about, what? I think he's 4 back on, I don't know. He's like 4 or 5 back on Skeptical Fan and 6 back on first place. So John Luna is almost in the top spot, as well as Skeptical Fan. They're both edging to the top, and Aussie is still holding on at the top of the mountain, so to speak. So, I know, John Luna. No, hey, we still got time, but I know we got 15. We're going to probably end this thing in about half an hour.
Yes,
so
Dave Brown just said, I'm so confused with Cooper backing up my boy.
I know he's got Lamar. He loves Lamar Jackson, but I don't understand that move either. Cooper Rush comes in for Lamar Jackson. What? What's going to happen?
And all good, John Luna. Again, much love. We're just glad that you're able to say hello and hi and stop by.
Appreciate the help in whatever way you supply it, brother. Appreciate you. But yes, we have typically we have 15. I think we have 15 more targets, I guess, to hit the goal tonight. We knew it was going to be a long one, a 2-hour stream. It's almost like a game day stream, so we knew it was going to be a long one. So might as well have give everybody a chance to hit that goal. Still have a chance to hit that goal. But yeah, it's all right. It's all good. We try to do the goal thing, just an extra bonus thing, and for the raffle at the end of the month. You know how that goes. Oh, and John Luna just making it a little bit closer to that goal with 6 on the board. He dropped 5 on it. What did the man say?
He said, "Are y'all still doing jersey drawings for jerseys?
Yes.
For the offseason?"
Yeah, a little more spaced out now. I will say it's not going to be every month.
Yeah, the way that it is during the regular season.
Yeah, but it slows down in the off season. Yes, we are still doing them, and if we hit the 20, everybody who's on that, we already got 5 or 6 names on the board. Everybody who's on that board gets in the raffle.
Yes.
So yes, we are still doing the jersey raffles. Big shout out to John Luna for getting us a step closer, and he's at 92 points on the stream boss, and he's basically tied with Skeptical Fan for second place right now on that board. Yeah. Now, shit, man, we got to talk about these moves that were done. You know what I mean? Like, these are some big ass moves that we got done here, in my opinion. That I guess you could say are somewhat surprising. Yes, no, I don't know, because remember,
surprising when you put it in context of the Cowboys.
The Cowboys don't. I would say the Cowboys. Remember, the Cowboys don't make moves in the offseason. We just are the blandest Jerry Jones crapped out team ever. But the Cowboys, a little money in free agency. I would say we have about maybe 40 million, 45 million going into free agency. The Cowboys started dropping some dimes out there. I gotta say, it is good the Cowboys finally dropping some money out there for players. The first one they got, and listen, this is the first player they got, and all as far as free agency, and also the first position group we're talking about, which is running back. And I really like this pickup a couple of years ago. I'll say, let me put it this way: last year, if you guys remember, from the Denver Broncos, Javonte Williams. All right, Cowboys not making huge moves in free agency, but they're making many more moves than we have in the past. And we started with a veteran running back in Javonte Williams. Now, the Cowboys signed him to a 1-year deal. We got an external free agent on day one. That's almost unheard of for the Joneses. So let's talk about it. Day one running back. How much is it going to cost the Cowboys? Day one running back. It must be a lot. John Luna said, "Hold up, He dropped that 5 on it.
Ooh.
In the house. What did the man say?
He said, "My wife Keisha is stoked for opening
Oh,
day
yeah.
for the Astros. She already said she'll be wearing the jersey I want, and I'll be sending you all the pictures." So
Man, that is awesome. I know that I posted them over on
yes,
Twitter. That's
so
whatever.
glad to see it.
That is
Mr.
awesome.
Luna, very exciting.
Yeah, that is awesome. I'm glad. I mean, we got the picture. We posted them. Just happy to see and proud to see fans here.
Yes,
And I get these jerseys when they show them to us, and they're happy with them. We love to see you guys repping it. So big shout out to Mr. John Luna and his wife Keisha and everybody else in the house tonight here, dropping the love, hitting the like, all that stuff. Thank you guys. Truly can't do this without you. And by the way, I just realized, baby, on that drop right there, that officially puts John Luna into first place by a hair
way to go, Mr. Luna.
over Aussie. Actually, it jumps him. Actually, a full 4.5 basically over Aussie there, who falls into second and Skeptical in
and
third.
a bit of a split. There's a few people in the chat who have not heard of
Javonte
Williams.
Williams. So let me get into this real
there's
quick.
A few people who have.
So Javonte Williams, listen. Here's the thing, guys. If you remember last year, I'm going off script here. But last year I talked about Javonte Williams in a major way. I talked about him, and at the time we needed to trade for him. I said, would the Cowboys trade like a 7th rounder and peel him off the Broncos? They had like 4 running backs. They barely were going to use him, but Cowboys didn't go that route. We would have to trade for him. I said more than a trade. I said keep an eye open if they cut him. They never cut him, so the Cowboys didn't go the trade route. Yeah. I understand that. But that was kind of one of the guys that said that's a young guy, 23 years old last year, who has a high upside. When we're looking at Rico Dallin, and we know the Cowboys going to go cheap, right? Well, the Cowboys listened to me last year, and they did it this year. They let them. Of course, they never got re-signed, became a free agent, and then the Cowboys day one signing this running back Javonte Williams. So let me tell you real quick, Javonte Williams was signed to the Cowboys on a 1-year deal worth $3 million, but he can get a max of $3.5 million. So only $500,000 is the incentives. $3 million is the base here. So, guys, $3 million to Javonte Williams, I have no problem with that deal. All right, $3.5 million the most he can get. Now, Javonte Williams, listen to me. He was drafted in the 2nd round in 2021 by the Broncos. He played in 54 games for the Broncos, had 29 starts in his career with the Broncos, 24 starts the last 2 years. So he's been a starter the last 2 years with them. Over his career, he's gained almost 2,400 yards. Scored 11 touchdowns and averaged 4 yards per attempt, which is just around that average mark there. But the best season for him came as a rookie, guys. He came in there. He had career high in yards, 903 yards. Minimal carries, too. But he had also 4.4 yards per attempt. He had that one major injury which came the following year in 2022. He tore his ACL and his LCL. I always love these high-value guys in the 1st and 2nd round that have tears in their knees. I'm telling you. So Javonte Williams was expendable last year for the Broncos. They kept him, and he played well for them. He started, again, 24 times in 2 years. The last 2 years, 24 times for them. So he's been a starter for them. But obviously from his rookie year, dropped big time. Now, does he hit his ceiling? I don't think so. But I don't know if he's not going to be as good as he would have been if he never got that injury. Let me put it that way. So, Javonte Williams, I think he's a good pickup last year. I think this year, still a good pickup for $3.5 million max. But the Cowboys now, when you look at our running backs, and we do have one more guy I'm going to add in there in a minute. We were throwing Javonte Williams in there with Deuce Vaughn and Hunter Lipke. Now things don't look good.
Yeah.
Rico Dowdle, of course, left to Carolina. So Schottenheimer, at this point, I know the Cowboys have to do more running back. Schottenheimer himself, guys, I know I didn't go over all what the coaches said. Fuck them. I don't care what they say anymore. Brian Schottenheimer, though, did say this at the combine. He's looking at running backs that can break arm tackles and catch the ball out of the backfield. And in 4 years, this new running back, Javonte Williams, he has 134 missed tackles caused, 1,777 yards after contact, and 966 receiving yards. Which, again, in 2024, last year, he had a career high in receiving yards.
Yeah.
So he's a guy that can catch the ball at the backfield and cause missed tackles. But I will say this. He lost the ability after getting injured to make people miss tackles. In 2021, he had 63 missed tackles he caused. Fantastic. After the injury, he had 16. Then in the year after that, 34. And the year after that, 21. Huge decrease in missed tackles. But He can catch out the backfield. So I think he's more of the de facto starter on that sense there. He also is going to count for the $3.5 million. He's going to count against the Cowboys' 2025 salary cap as much as Saquon Barkley counted against the Eagles' salary cap in 2024. Remember, they moved that money down a little bit. But on the cap last year, it cost $3.5 million for Barkley on the cap. And this year, it's costing us, Javonte Williams, a one-year deal. You can't move the money down. 1 year, $3.5 million. So the Cowboys didn't have an NFL caliber running back on our roster. We had to sign someone. Javonte Williams for $3 million base, $3.5 million with incentives. It's a fine pickup in my opinion. Not a great one, just an okay one. By the way, we got a back-to-back drop by the great one, the man, John Luna, who's got us 11 away from hitting the bullseye target, maybe all the way through it, hitting that goal. What did the man say back-to-back in it for us here?
He says, so what are your thoughts on the Cowboys taking Shadur Sanders as a back for Dak?
Again, as a backup for Dak, I do not like it at all. I think that would be a Jerry Jones, let me get Deion Sanders' name back in the house kind of pick. I'm not a fan. I'm not a big proponent of Shadur Sanders.
Cowboys know what it is that they want when it comes to the future of what they want the quarterback position to look like. Because if they want to move on from Dak in 2 years or so, what's the plan? What's the idea? What's the direction? What is it that they want to do differently, so to speak? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and what steps do they plan on taking? Because realistically speaking, I can't really see them making that decision until they figure out what comes next after that point.
No, and I'm going to answer that real quick with saying, again, I do not like the Shadur Sanders. I would not like the Cowboys to go get him. Also, the Cowboys going to have Dak for at least another 2-3 years, right? So we have another year or two before we can have to make that decision. Like, get Shadur Sanders now, and then we're going to send him on the bench for 3 years? I know it just doesn't make any sense. It's a wasted draft pick in a way. We need an impact now. We can't have a backup. So, to answer the question, not a fan of Shadur Sanders as a backup for Dak. I know he also dropped another one.
He did. Right before that, he was responding to Rolando Rodriguez, saying, I saw them also in Joe Morgan. Because they were talking about some baseball there, saying old enough to see, Nolan Ryan, Jose Cruz Jr., Richard, Mike Scott in the Astrodome, and Game Time Oilers.
That's some old school right there.
Joe fans.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's some old school flavor right there. Listen, Mr. Luna knows his people, and it's good to see that Rolando Rodriguez does as well, representing Texas, both these guys. So big shout outs to them on that front. Now, where was I at? Oh, I think you got the comments on basically on Javonte Williams. Listen, Javonte Williams for me, he's good enough. He's a replacement for Rico Dowdle in a way. Rico Dowdle was $6.5 million maxed out, 3.5 base. This guy is 3 base, 3.5 max. I'll take it. Now, Rico Dowdle not going to be in here anymore, of course, right? But I think he's 26 years old, Rico Dowdle, right?
Yeah.
He has a little bit of a hip issue, right? Rico Dowdle, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I'm okay with letting Rico Dowdle go for $3.5 to $6.5 million, and I have no problem keeping Javonte Williams, who's injured. I don't got injured, but he's been fine the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Guy like him for $3 million base, 3.5 max, at 24 years old. That's 2 years younger than Rico. So, and Rico got injured two out of his 5 years in the NFL. Yeah. So I'm okay with this shift away from Rico and paying more to him and paying a little, I'd say half of what we would have to pay Rico to Javonte Williams, and also picking up not Shadur Sanders, but Miles Sanders. I'll talk about that in a minute, but first, John Luna dropping the bomb here. Another 5 on it.
Saying exactly what we've been saying, what you guys have been saying here in the chat as well, saying if the Cowboys pick him, it's just to get the Dallas fans all riled up and to put cheeks in the seats.
Exactly. It's a Jerry Jones move. That's exactly what it would be. 100%.
It
clown show.
At that point, even a merit-based thing. Not to say that your name doesn't help you, get a little bit more out there or whatever. We just know that it would not be based on any actual football merit, at least on our
based on bringing Deion Sanders to like his name, his stardom, his the hype back.
Yeah, basically tie that to the star.
Yeah. And then you're making money. Jerry Jones winning, but we lose on the scoreboard. Unfortunately, because I don't think Sanders is the answer. But I do think, as we shift on from that comment, and again, big shout out John Luna. He's completely stacked up and locked and loaded. And he's halfway. We are halfway to the goal, by the way.
That's right.
As we're getting closer to the end of the show. We're at running back still. The other running back the Cowboys picked up is Miles Sanders. Now, again, guys, we signed him, Miles Sanders, to a 1-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Another 1-year deal, guy, at running back. So 2 guys are running back, 1-year deals. This 1-year deal, $1.337 million. $1.3 million from Miles Sanders. Now, he's a little older. He got a $167,000 bonus, and he's in account at $1.17 million against the cap. 1.03 is guaranteed. When you hear 1.03 million guaranteed, it's a veteran salary benefit contract. We got Miles Sanders on a very cheap deal. Now, is he a great player anymore? No. He did some great things. We know him from Philly. He was slippery and slimy out in the backfield, always making some great moves, but now he's older. We know him from Philly. The last 2 years he was the Panthers. He kind of disappeared. So results there with their offensive line, their offensive scheme, and their coaching, and the quarterback, their offense sucks. So they've been, lackluster there. They got Rico Dowdle, by the way. So this Sanders comes to us on the $1.1 million 1-year deal. Where they got Rico for 6.5.
And it's funny because Cowboys abroad said out of him and Williams, the 2 guys, like, who do you put as the one who ends up sleeping? Yeah. I mean, starter, I would have to say Williams,
without question. So Javonte Williams is the starter now, and Miles Sanders is our 3rd down back. Yeah, he's our versatile out the back. Both guys can catch the ball. I think that's one of the key things to keep an eye out for. Okay. We have 2 guys that catch the ball. Honest,
that's not something
Schottenheimer said specifically he wanted to get running backs to catch the ball out the backfield and make people miss tackles. True. So Miles Sanders is slippery. He can make people miss tackles that way. Javonte Williams make people miss tackle with both power and moves, but he's not doing that as much. Miles Sanders has always been kind of good at that. He's older. He's not doing that as much. To me, it's more about catching the ball at the backfield. If one guy's out, the other guys still come in and still catch the ball in the same play, in the same scheme, without missing a beat. And I think that both guys are very good at catching the ball. Sure. As far as being good at being, consistent running backs and pounding the rock, no. Mm-hmm. These guys are not for that. So we still need a running back. Okay. That's why I say the draft is a key. In the first 2 rounds, a running back will be taken, I believe, by the Cowboys. So now with the Bryce Young era, everything was tough for the Carolina Panthers. Miles came off 2024 season. He only got 55 carries for 205 yards. That is horrific, guys. He only had 2 touchdowns, but he's not a goal line guy. So think about it like that. Still, but I mean, they had Chuba Hubbard and
the rest of the stats as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's not too much. 55 carries, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. But his per carry yardage rose last year to 3.7 yards per carry. The year before he was only at 3.3 yards per carry. So at least there's an upside there. But again, that was his first year with the Panthers. Horrible years with the Panthers. I think he'll be better with us. I truly do believe that. But he's not the answer. So we got 2 running backs, a 3rd down kind of guy, I guess, like Miles Sanders, and a guy who could kind of do both as their pseudo starter.
It's like some
Javonte Williams.
Supporting cast, but where's our lead?
And I think and that's why I'm going to end the running back conversation with, I believe the lead running back will come in the draft. Okay. First, 2nd round, 3rd round, we'll see. But I think in the draft, the Cowboys go running back.
I'm kind of glad that as of now, the few offseason moves we've made in free agency or re-signing or lack of re-signing our guys, it does kind of point to what I had initially said as far as what I'd like to see in the draft, because you're right. Like, it does seem like we're going to target a running back in the draft, maybe sooner rather than later.
Well, I mean, I think that's almost a no-brainer.
I don't want to get. I just don't want to get my hopes up.
Now, the Cowboys abroad saying that again, I agree with that.
He was just
shitty team, and I agree. That's why I think Miles Sanders will be better than what he showed in Carolina, but he will not be the Eagle player we saw. Those days have passed for Miles Sanders. He's good, he's decent, but he's not the starter. He's not. Neither is Javonte Williams. These guys are more, like you said, it's number 2 and number 3. Who's the number 1? I think to be announced. I think it's a running back in the 1st or 2nd round. Yeah. We'll see. Because we got to look about receiver. We made a move at receiver yesterday. Our latest move, the only receiver we picked up so far in free agency. Of course, we re-signed Javonte Turpin. Yeah. We got Tolbert. We let Cooks go, so we're missing a number 2. The Cowboys signed wide receiver Paris Campbell. I know. Listen, I actually liked him for a little bit, a couple of years, like half a season. And then he just was not able to keep up with the production. So Paris Campbell is fresh off a Super Bowl championship with the Eagles. So that's the bad news there. But he started off his career with the Colts. So he was pretty decent there, but he plateaued. Then he joined the Giants and then the Eagles. So Campbell had one big year in 2022. He had 63 catches, 623 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He only played in 5 games for the Eagles last season, though. And he spent most of the year on the practice squad or being inactive. So Paris Campbell is basically behind everyone on our list right now. He might be a signed name that you heard of, but he's behind Jalen Brooks. He's behind those guys, in my opinion. By the way, in case you didn't know, you heard me name the teams, right? He was with the Colts. He was with the Eagles, the Giants. Now he's with the Cowboys. The Cowboys are the 3rd NFC East team.
Yeah.
He's playing on now, Paris Campbell. So Paris Campbell, now a Cowboy at receiver. And I think, as of right now, wide receiver is even a bigger place to look at in the first round of the draft. I think it's more receiver or linebacker than it is running back, unless that running back is there. That one guy is there. He drips down to us. We might grab him. Outside of that, I think it's a receiver or linebacker in the draft. But I'm just saying, receiver is right now, we have one guy in free agency outside of our team. Any thoughts on running back or receiver, baby, with Paris Campbell?
I mean, I have to be honest. Like I said, I feel like everything is tracking with exactly what we're hoping to see when it comes to the draft, right? Like these moves here, just I feel like have a reciprocal move when it comes to the draft. So
it connects to the draft, but again,
a little bit surprising from the Cowboys side of things, though.
Well, I mean, that's only 3 players right now, so
I know.
But running back, receiver,
I really thought, I know, but even I have to admit that I really did think that we were gonna make maybe more of an attempt to keep Rico Dowdle here.
Yeah, well,
just as an overall thought, I'm just a little more surprised at that.
Don't be surprised because he was telling them $6 million, and Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones say no.
But what I was going to say, even outside of that, I just should have been less surprised, just because Schottenheimer's made it pretty clear that he has a very specific offensive vision in mind.
When it comes to him, and it comes to Schottenheimer, baby, even though he wants a running back that can catch the ball and make people miss tackles, he is more of a kind of always has led with like 3 running backs that are big runners.
Yeah.
Not really the passing game kind of mindset, more of a run game, like run. We don't have any of those guys right now.
We do not.
So these moves don't really go into what his style is, which is kind of strange too. Does that mean Jerry Jones is pulling some strings? I don't know.
Or even Schottenheimer, like maybe those were his earlier thoughts or things like that. Like the league is changing. The league has changed. So maybe things are a little bit different.
John Luna dropping that love.
Or maybe our O-line's going to suck.
I'm going to talk about O-line in a minute. A $5 holler right there puts us 9 away from hitting the goal. What did the man John Luna have to say with that 5 on it?
Well, he said, I sure do appreciate y'all's knowledge about your team's players and just worried about wins and losses. I like the deep dives that y'all do. It's great work.
Man, thank you so much. It is an honor to hear people tell us that because we do bust our ass and, really try to get everything right. I know we've been a little sloppy, but we get back on track once the season goes and gets rolling there. So much love to you, John Luna. Thank you, man. We can't, honestly, without your guys' love and support, your questions, your comments, the donations, the love you guys give to us, I mean, speaks a million. So thank you guys so much for the love. Cannot say it. Yes, cannot say it. And we try our best. And that's where it moves to the next guy. We talked about running back and receiver. You talk about offensive line.
Yeah.
We grabbed an offensive line. You guys were talking about who's replacing Zack Martin.
Mm-hmm.
It was TJ Bass. TJ Bass is the penciled-in starter until we made this free agent move, which Jane Slater calls the best move we made. It's for a guy named Robert Jones. Not the old linebacker for the Cowboys. Rob Jones, offensive lineman.
Okay.
He's a former Dolphins free agent offensive lineman. He reached an agreement with the Cowboys on another 1-year deal. We have 3 1-year deals right now, worth up to $4.75 million. Obviously going to be based on playtime and playoffs. My point is, $4.75 million on a 1-year deal, that's the most he can get. He's a guy who started all 17 games last year for the Dolphins at left guard. He allowed 5 sacks and 28 pressures. So, not horrible. Not
I heard 17 games. Lets me also know healthy.
Yeah,
available.
Healthy. Starter.
Yeah.
Allowed only 5 sacks at left guard. 28 pressures in the whole season. He definitely is influencing the structure of his, look, all I'm going to say is this. Those incentives, the play time, the starting time,
Mhm.
active rosters time, that's going to be the incentives. So, again, now, with the pass blocking efficiency he will give us,
Mhm.
and possibly a starting status with the Cowboys with no Zack Martin, I think that is a big deal for us to keep an eye out. I think him, TJ Bass, Brock Hoffman,
True.
they'll fight for that right guard starting spot. But I do want to say one last thing. Well, that's the good news. The bad news is amongst guards, all guards, he ranked 62nd in ESPN's pass block win rate.
Mm.
So pass block winning, not his thinging. And baby, he was 64th in run block win rate. He's bad at pass blocking. He's even worse at run blocking. And you know what? This is out of 64 people. He was 62nd and he was 64th.
Okay, that really hurts, but maybe that's one of those things where, like,
Team.
they're looking at it and saying, like, okay, these things are coachable. Like, that's a
Yeah.
coachable thing.
I hope.
We can work on some of that. Like, maybe he won't be the best, but we can definitely get him better than where he's at now.
Yeah, and that is,
Which is
like,
apparently not
I
very hard to do,
understand.
considering he's literally the
Man,
worst, like,
well, it's
almost
weird.
as bad as you can possibly be.
No, he allowed 5 sacks only.
Yeah.
He only allowed 28 pressures. The guy cannot. He was third worst pass blocking guard
Which is nuts.
and the worst run blocking guard in the NFL. So, again, you think you got something, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh. So James Slater says his upside is big. I do think that he will probably be the pencil. I think he's the new Pendleton starter, and I think with a guy, Cooper Beebe, Terrence Steele. I hope he can give him a little help. I think he'll have better offensive linemen around him. We'll see what happens. But he did very well with the Dolphins as far as the pure stats. Now, as far as the win rate, not very good on those analytical stats. So we'll see how he does. But a guy to keep an eye on for sure. And again, you got to remember, guys, Robert Jones, that's the guy we signed, former Dolphins offensive lineman. The expectation, even if he played left guard, the expectation he's going to play right guard for the Cowboys, filling in for Zack Martin's retirement.
Mm-hmm.
We know he could play left guard as well. So the versatility, we always hear that word when it comes to the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
The versatility is the big thing for the Cowboys and some of these signings. Someone like an offensive lineman like Robert Jones. The Cowboys are in a situation where we need more starter, at least, or at least depth on the offensive line. So that's the reason why. Remember, no Chuma Edoga as well.
Yeah,
he's gone. So
the Jaguars.
Yep. So he went with Jordan Lewis to the Jags. So again, this is a standard depth move for the Cowboys. Let's not get it twisted for Robert Jones, offensive lineman, low risk with a decent upside. So it is okay to be happy with. At the very least, we got a good backup. But I'm still kind of, you're filling holes. Like kind of what you said, you got to fill holes with these guys. We're doing that right now preparing for the draft.
Yeah, which makes sense.
So again, another 1-year deal. Well, these are short-term 1-year guys. Now I'm going to say this next guy. That's the offensive moves. That is it. Nothing great. All just fill in the holes.
Housekeeping,
moves.
So
yes,
to speak,
exactly.
For now.
Defense. Let's finish up on defense here. And with the first guy, interior, we got Osa. And I think this guy is actually very good. I saw him on the Hard Knocks a couple of years ago. I think this guy actually brings intensity. And the defensive tackle, his name is Solomon Thomas, formerly of the Jets. The Cowboys signed him by day 2 there. Former Jets defensive tackle Solomon Thomas reached an agreement on a 2-year deal. This guy, the Cowboys Cowboys like him a little more. So do I.
Long term.
I like this guy a little bit more than the other guys I mentioned. And this is the first defensive signing I'm talking about now. So Solomon Thomas reached an agreement on a 2-year deal with a max value of $8 million. So a max of $4 million per year.
Okay.
And he lives in Dallas. He calls Dallas home. He gets to go back. But there's a lot of things tied into Solomon Thomas and why he's here for 2 years. Listen to this. He was once the 3rd overall pick of the draft in 2017. He's a veteran. He's been around for 8 years. He's a veteran, but he was a 3rd overall pick. Cowboys love those high draft picks, former high draft picks. He spent the last bunch of years working with the Jets. Aaron White Cotton. If you know that name, he's the Cowboys' new defensive line coach. And that's who he was working with the Jets.
Okay.
Both guys worked together on the Jets. White Cotton, who came from the Jets, worked with Solomon Thomas on the Jets. So you can see why we brought in Solomon Thomas, because of the coach that we have
Yeah.
here. Defensive line coach who knows him well probably said, listen, this guy gives it all. He got intensity. I've seen him. This Solomon Thomas is a real deal in practice. So I like this
It's all about who you know.
So yeah, White Cotton got basically brought over Solomon Thomas to the Cowboys. At this point, he was our third external free agent. The Cowboys agreed with in the process. That was day 2 of the things. We had just gotten Javonte Williams and Robert Jones. Third guy was Solomon Thomas. So just so you know, the Cowboys do have him in high regard, hold him in high regard, and I think it's a good. This guy is one of my favorite pickups. And just let me explain to what it means. He's a hybrid defensive tackle and a defensive end. He can play both for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
And he was, the sky was the limit with him coming out at both positions in college. He had speed, freakish build to beat blockers off the snap. Again, very quick off the snap. Hopefully that will help Mozzie.
Yeah.
I hope, So again, he used to have elite speed for his size. Some of this pass rush potential was basically lost when guess what happened? Again, being a full-time interior defensive line player, which is what he started becoming more than an edge, he became an interior defensive tackle. Someone fell on his leg, tore his ACL in 2020.
Ow.
So his ability to transition within pass rushes, and win them with the power needed in the NFL is just something that did not come as easily anymore for him. So he lost that ability to really pass rush from the edge. That's why you don't see him used at the edge as much. You've seen him more being used as in the interior, and he, again, able to kind of still push the pocket back, being an interior pass rusher. He has the strength, he has the speed, he's fast off the line of scrimmage, and he's a tough player to move off the line of scrimmage. Once so you got to double him. We want that. It gets the linebackers right in the holes to fill it. He can hold his ground. He can still do a good job stopping the run. He does a great job still from pass rushing, pushing the pocket back from the inside. So Solomon Thomas is a very good pickup, I think, in this situation for us. He's 29 years old, so he's getting older, but he still has, got a 2-year deal on him. The last 3 years he was with the Jets, where White Cotton, our coach now, defensive line coach, was also, I think, was with him. But then in 2020, he was also, I think Solomon Thomas was with the Niners. And our assistant defensive line coach also coached, that we have now, also coached Solomon Thomas with the Niners. So there's a whole lineage of guys that know him from different coaching experiences, that know this guy, brought him in and say, this is the guy, we like this guy.
Like a kind of a very funny version of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. Obviously for one of our coaches.
Yeah, but we know that, but the thing is about that we know that our coach is more for this player, and the fact that all these coaches kind of know him on our own squad is a great sign that they all have the same kind of viewpoint about him. That this guy is a hard worker, this guy still has skills, and they like working with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Solomon Thomas can do and how he fits in our rotation in the interior. Now we have Osa, Mozzie, and Solomon Thomas, to me, should be starting. But we'll see what happens, because the Cowboys did go after an edge rusher as well, named Peyton Turner in the Saints. Cowboys signed Peyton Turner, edge rusher, to a 1-year deal, $3 million total. Another 1-year deal guy for $3.5 million max. So $500,000 is incentives. $60,000 is bonus. $1.4 million is guaranteed as the base. And listen, he gets $250,000 if he gets a certain number of sacks and we make the playoffs. He gets another $250,000 if he gets a certain number of play time and we make the playoffs. So he has about $500,000 right there. You can see in those incentives, another $500,000 in per game roster bonuses. So if he's there on the roster, he gets, he builds it up. He gets up to $500,000.
Yeah.
So again, he can max out on the whole million there. Or I'm sorry, the whole million. If he's playing well, getting sacks, and we make the playoffs, and he gets play time. So don't hold your breath. This guy here, that's why there's a lot of incentives, because the probabilities you will not hit these. Peyton Turner, former first-round pick, another former first-round pick, and he was a first-round pick of the Saints in 2021. Now signed with the Cowboys, like I said, 1 year, $3 million, $3.5 million max. But injuries is what hurt his development. He had 2 sacks, 4 pass deflections, and 2 forced fumbles in 16 games he played in last year. He was a first-round pick, like I said, but has had trouble living up to that first-round billing. So the Saints declined his 5th-year option. Injuries were a problem. Let him hit the free agent list. We got him for a prove-it deal on the cheap. So as a cheap guy, I would say he's a backup. He's a guy that's going to be there behind Sam Williams and Micah Parsons. You know what I mean? He's one of those kind of guys for us. when it comes to Peyton Turner. Another hole filler backup. And guess who else we signed? The guy we all know, edge rusher, Dante Fowler Jr., guys. You know him.
Welcome back.
Former number 56, back to the Cowboys. He went to the Washington Commanders last year with Dan Quinn and came right back to the Cowboys this year, bringing back a veteran pass rusher. So, guys, Dante Fowler back. You know how much he cost us? He's back on a 1-year deal. Spent last year at Washington. You know how many sacks he got at Washington? 10.5 sacks.
Shit.
He had 10 sacks in 2022 and 2023 with the Cowboys. I'm saying combined. In those 2 years, he had 10 sacks, and he had 10.5 sacks just with Washington last year. So, the Cowboys decided to say, you know what? 1-year deal, base value $6 million. You get incentives up to $8 million. It's a lot for the Cowboys to pay a former guy.
That's kind of a lot.
And Demarcus Lawrence, that's what happens when you don't burn your bridges. You got a chance to make a little money on the way back, so
it sounds like they trust him
Yeah.
maybe more than we initially realized.
Yeah, it's
like, just
surprising.
out there,
And-
like,
and
because
it's-
that about shows a bit of more trust than I was.
his skills showed out, though. You got to give him credit, guys.
Oh, yeah,
he did not log any starts in the 2 years at the Cowboys. Still had 10 sacks in those 2 years. Was very productive as a rotational pass rusher. In 2022, with the Cowboys, he finished tied for third with 6 sacks.
Sounds like his work
Yeah.
ethic as well just kind
Yeah.
of speaks for itself.
A year later, Fowler added 4 more sacks. That equals 10, right? Then he had 10.5 at Washington last year. Second most in his career. So his skills are still there. The Cowboys, now remember, we're missing Demarcus Lawrence now. He's gone. So we got Micah and Sam Williams.
Yeah.
But now we're bringing in a guy, and of course, I just told you about the other guy we brought in, Peyton Turner.
Yeah.
We also brought back Dante Fowler to be in the mix as a backup here. Sam Williams coming off the ACL tear. Demarcus Lawrence going to Seattle. Dante Fowler is a little bit older than we like him to be in age, but he's a quality pass rusher. He's not gonna be a starter. He's gonna be a rotational guy like he was and give him some good numbers. He's gonna be a contributing piece on our defense. That's the goal with Eberflus. So again, with Solomon Thomas inside, with Peyton Turner as a backup on the outside, with a little more backup power, with someone like Dante Fowler Jr. behind guys like, of course, Micah, Sam Williams, wherever, what I'm saying? So at edge, we kind of have a decent kind of compiling of players, and even with the inside guy, we have some pretty decent defensive players.
Yeah.
What about linebacker? Nobody a linebacker. What's going on? Oh, whoa, I know what's going on. We got John Luna dropping that 5 on it. Where is he at now, baby, when it comes to the goal on our board here?
We are at 12
Oh,
out of
shit.
20. Thank you so much, Mr. Luna.
Either way.
Helping
That's
to
up.
get there, saying, hey guys, I'm out. Have to get some sleep. Always great to catch your live streams, MCF and My Cowboys Family. Be safe.
Yes, you too,
Thank
sir.
you so much, Mr. Luna. Appreciate you.
Big
Have
shout-outs.
a great night, and hopefully
Yes.
we'll see you very, very soon
Yes.
for the next one.
Yes,
Sooner than
hopefully.
you think.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get the next one quicker than a month later. So big shout out to Mr. John Luna. 100 points, fully loaded, in first place.
That's right. He fully
The only
restocked
thing,
himself.
the only thing I think he's behind in or not in on is the gifting memberships. And the other thing is, right now if we have 8 more drops of $5 or higher before the end of this stream, which is going to end in about 10, 15 minutes, everybody hits that goal and we all get to celebrate. You know what I mean?
Cowboys Abroad, you have a great night too.
Yes.
Take it
thank
easy.
you.
Much love.
Finishing it up here at linebacker, we got 3 players left to talk about, and it's really quick. So let me just say it this way. Linebacker, we got, I think this is another solid guy. You guys don't know him too well. He's from Chicago Bears, and he came over because of Eberflus. Jack Sanborn. Jack Sanborn is a linebacker. He's your Eric Kendricks replacement type guy. A 1-year deal. Another one year deal guy. This is what the Eagles are doing.
Yeah.
1-year deals all across the board. So now Jack Sanborn is reunited with Matt Eberflus and Dave Borgonzi. Dave Borgonzi, guys, coached with Eberflus over there with Chicago as a linebackers coach, and now he's going to be coaching the same guy. So this is another of who you know. Cowboy coaching staff, linebacker coach, and Eberflus knows Sandberg's work ethic. They know the way he is from Chicago, brought him over. Now, how did he do in 3 years with Chicago? Remember, he was coached for 3 years by both these guys in Chicago. 164 tackles, 14 tackles for loss. Sanborn went undrafted in 2022 out of Wisconsin, signed with the Bears. In those 3 years, he played in 49 games. He had 19 starts in 49 games. So they know he's a guy that could be kind of up for more snaps, or at the very least, a very good rotational player. He has, again, in those 19 starts, in those 49 games he played, 164 tackles, 4.5 sacks in his career. The key for picking him up, I heard, is the reason that you looked it up earlier, DeMarvion Overshown.
Yep.
DeMarvion Overshown's availability is in question this year, at least for half the year. And Eric Kendricks, the free agent, the Cowboys are not going to pay him what he wants. He wanted to get that 1 year prove it deal. He felt he proved it. He's not coming back to Dallas on a cheap deal, Kendricks. So that is why the Cowboys went and got Jack Sanborn. And again, going to put him there with Maurice Luafau. He's going to need some help. That's a second-year guy, Maurice Luafau.
Yep.
He's going to get him, Jack Sanborn.
He's going to be able to do it all himself.
Yeah, they're going to have to team up a little bit. And again, that's why I say, at this point, look at the draft. We're still weak at linebacker. But again, Sanborn is a guy he could be used as a very quality, good replacement, temporary backup for Overshown type situation. But you got to remember, the key here is the draft for linebacker and Eberflus and his coaching staff working with him in Chicago. He also has a lot of special teams experience. So in a way, he's almost like Nick Vigil's replacement. Think of him as Nick Vigil's replacement. He's a player who can help in multiple ways. He also has experience with the defensive coaches on our new defense. Remember how important that is? What did we do when we got Zimmer here? Who did he bring over?
I mean, he brought over his own coaches.
I'm talking about player, baby.
Oh, Kendricks, right?
Linebacker to learn the defense. Now we have Eberflus, who's our defensive coordinator. Who did he bring over at what position from his whole team? Linebacker. Jack Sanborn is the Eric Kendricks for Zimmer. But he's the Eric Kendricks for.
He's there to fill that same kind of role.
Well, to help the players know the scheme faster, he's there to help them. He knows the scheme. He knows the coaches. He knows he plays a lot of special teams. The Cowboys love that.
In a similar Kendricks fashion, I imagine that he might be one of those players.
He's still a starter, though.
Stands out a little bit more because he knows the scheme.
Yes, I agree.
Because he doesn't have to kind of figure it out the same way everyone else has to.
In the beginning, Sanborn is going to pop off the screen because he knows the scheme. He's gonna be ahead of everybody else. But
as the players start to pick it up and get comfortable with it and get it, it won't be long until they start.
And he'll also help teach the parts of the scheme to the backups and everybody. But he's going to be a backup too. He's not going to be a starter. And you know why I know that? Because the Cowboys made trades. And listen to this. Remember I told you about those 10 picks we have for this draft?
Yeah.
Well, we have 4 comp picks that we got. Compensatory picks I talked about already. 3 in the 5th round and 1 in the 6th. We decided to say, you know what? We're going to use some of them. We started to pull a little Brandon Cooks, Stephon Gilmore from 2 years ago. I remember we did a stream when we did it when that happened. 2 years ago. Same place. We're going to be at next week. So my point is that's when we did those moves. We did it again 2 years later. So we got 2 players that we traded using our comp picks. The Cowboys traded with the Tennessee Titans for linebacker Kenneth Murray. Now, this brings me back to Javonte Williams at running back. Because to me, I talked about Javonte Williams last year the way I talked about Kenneth Murray 2 or 3 years ago. This guy's a solid linebacker a couple of years ago, but not as much anymore. And that's my only worry. So the Cowboys decided to say, you know what, we're going to trade. We're going to trade for a linebacker who's going to be our starter to start off the year. We got Jake Sanborn. We got, Maurice Luafau. We're going to have Overshown coming off the injury. Maybe we could even use, a little bit of Marquise Bell if we needed to, but we are going to start with the guy we traded for. And that's former Tennessee Titan, former LA Charger linebacker, Kenneth Murray. So, what are we doing? What are we trading for him? The Cowboys, in the late, this was brewing. The Cowboys are basically trying to do a late round swap for picks. Kenneth Murray is a former first round pick of the Chargers in 2021. 4 years there, he had 321 tackles. That's a lot more than Jake Sanborn. Saying. So he had 321 tackles, 5 sacks, 2 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, and 1 forced fumble in those 4 years with the Chargers. He signed a 2-year deal worth $15.5 million with the Titans in 2024 when the Chargers did not pick up his 5th-year option. With the Titans in 2 years, he had 95 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 1 forced fumble. And then he went to injury reserve late last year. So again, they played like a year and a half. Not horrible numbers, but not great either. The point is here, the guy's been injured. He's not the way he used to be. The Cowboys got him on a real cheap deal here, just swapping late round picks. So again, guys, look at the Cowboys like traded out 6th rounder for a 6th rounder, or a 6th rounder for a 7th rounder.
Yeah.
So, and we got we get the rights to Kenneth Murray. I want to just finish by saying this. Now with 2 new linebackers, Kenneth Murray traded for him, and Jake Sanborn on board, basically his backup. The Cowboys have done a good job of adding depth, and I specify the word depth to the linebacker spot. Kenneth Murray can start, but he's going to be low. He's going to be the low ball version of Eric Kendricks. So to me, we need to still draft a linebacker, bring in a real top linebacker in here. So we got good around the running back guys. We have good around the linebacker guys. We don't have that guy
That
yet.
linebacker.
Yeah, we need that running back guy. We need a linebacker. We don't have those guys. We need a receiver guy. First 3 rounds. You heard those first 3 picks, in my opinion. So, again, we could trade up or down, or who knows where we go. But I'm saying if it stays the way it is, I think those are the 3 spots we're looking at. Murray and Sanborn on board. We got enough to hold us over for the overshown injury, Hendricks being gone. But I'll say this one thing about Kenneth Murray. We gave away late pick for him to get a late pick back. But we're also paying $7.6 million. Almost $8 million for Kenneth Murray. So I guess Eberflus really, really wanted him and Sanborn on this. Sanborn to teach the scheme and Murray to, we're paying him almost $8 million. That's not like the Cowboys to do that. We're paying the contract. So that's a lot of money for a linebacker who hasn't been very good the last couple of years. That's all I'm going to leave it at. So the last trade, I think maybe is this the best trade we may have? I thought about linebackers. Everybody, what about cornerback, baby? We went to the Buffalo Bills and said, give us Kaiir Elam. That's why I said a $20 holler. It's a Kaiir Elam. I'm sorry, a Kaiir Elam. Kaiir.
Yeah.
Just so we get it in there. He's number 20 for the Cowboys. Of course, the last person that had number 20 was Dalvin Cook. We never even used him, basically. Barely. But Kaiir Elam, defensive back. He's typically a cornerback, but Kaiir Elam is wearing number 20. And basically, guys, we got him. We got Kaiir Elam. He's a veteran cornerback. And we sent the Bills a 5th rounder, one of our top 5th rounders.
Okay.
And our 7th rounder that we got from the Panthers. We've given those away to the Bills. 2 away to the Bills. And in return, we get Elam and a 6th rounder. So what we basically did was give away one of our 3 5th round comp picks.
Yeah.
And got back a 6th rounder, which we probably gave away to get the Kenneth Murray trade. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't lose much. We got Kenneth Murray and Kaiir Elam.
That actually worked out really nicely.
Yeah. So we got back a 6th rounder in Elam. Gave up a 5th, one of our 4 5th, but we have 3 comp picks, whatever. And that, by the way, that pick is the 170th pick, that 5th rounder. It's like very low. It's like a 6th rounder.
Damn.
So we got a deal there as far as I think is a good player. I don't have the numbers of his contract, which really would make the difference, but he's a veteran cornerback, veteran defensive back, play defensive back, to play safety or corner. He was selected in the 1st round of the 2022 draft. Like I said, another 1st round of the Cowboys love. And he was playing with the Florida Gators. Now, he did miss, he was drafted in 2022, was pretty good. 2023, he was injured. He missed the majority of the year. And then he rebounded to play most of last season. Again, a 2022 1st rounder. The Cowboys have to decide if they want to. Good guys, because he's 2022. Guess what? At the end of this year, guess what it is? 5th round option.
Ah.
I'm not 5th. I'm sorry, 5th year option. So we can pick up that option. It's going to cost us like $20,000. It's going to cost like $20 million. So it's doubtful we'll pick it up. But we have that option if we want to sign him. If we don't, we can let him go. But he's a 1-year guy. We basically gave up a 5th and a 7th, got back a 6th in him. That's what we got for. That's what the deal is there. We do not expect to pull out his 5th year option next year, which will be into the 20 millions. So what Elam will give us at cornerback is a depth, basically a point of depth for the Cowboys at cornerback, which we needed. We don't have Jordan Lewis anymore. So Elam, he's a viable person to come in there and help out at the nickel cornerback spot
Yes.
and the backup cornerback spot. So we'll see how Elam is used, but we traded for him for a reason. Now, can we draft a corner? Damn right we can. But I don't think we're going to draft a top 3 corner. Now, I almost have with Trayvon Diggs. We still got Deron Bland. So there's a lot of options with the Cowboys, but Kaiir Elam should be one of the 3 starters in this mix.
I don't see the Cowboys investing too much more at that position.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though. Right now, who is our starters? No Diggs. We got Bland. We lost Jordan Lewis. So Elam is the starter on the other side right now. At the start, we got Mukwama. Is he going to be a starter at nickel? Of course not. So we have to figure things out here. We got a lot of holes still in our secondary, specifically not safety, but specifically at cornerback.
Yeah.
So do not forget about cornerbacks either. If there's a really good cornerback that dropped, that could be a player we take
Cowboys maybe
over a running back or
plans,
over a receiver or something, or a linebacker. Who knows what's available? So you can shift plans, like you said, with not many players there at cornerback for the Cowboys. When you look at the injury to Diggs and the loss of Jordan Lewis, Elam only helps half of that issue right now. So, that is where the Cowboys are currently. You wanted a breakdown, baby? You got a breakdown. Can't get a better breakdown than that of everything we've done up to this moment.
Broken.
It has been broken down fully. And it's been broken down for basically 2 hours and 20 minutes, guys. Like I knew it would be. And you can take a nice long stream tonight. But I want to know what you guys think.
Yeah,
so I'm going to shut the fuck up for the rest of this stream. And baby, you hit the stream up. You get some comments and thoughts.
I'm going to read a few of these comments as we start to wrap things up here, of course. But as I do that, make sure to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You guys can follow us anywhere and everywhere at My Cowboys Family. And of course, I have the Discord link for that's in the description box there. Rolando Rodriguez said, camp bodies or practice squad players. The Cowboys, we need some impact players.
Yep.
So hopefully some of these guys that we talked about tonight end up being some of those impact players. By the way, Zack Martin said, I say, you draft linebacker Jalen Walker.
I mean, there's options there. Again, linebackers, running backs, receivers, and cornerback. I would not mind the Cowboys to drop back in the draft a little bit somewhere, whether it's second round, doesn't be first round.
Mm-hmm.
It can be second round. It can just drop back a little bit, pick up another top 100 pick. Top 3 rounds, and we get 4 picks in the top 3 rounds. That's how you get your cornerback, along with linebacker, and your offensive weapons at receiver and running back. In my humble opinion.
Cowboys said our defense is going to be violent this year.
I hope so. Eberflus is good, but he's also easy to predict. I talked about him when we signed him. So that's his weakness, but let's hope we got the players to do what his scheme, deems necessary. That's one of the reasons why we have Jack Sanborn in the house.
Skeptical fans saying, I played 2 Madden games while listening to FCA.
Hey, that's 2.5 hours of Dallas Cowboy news and fun updates and some Madden fun.
Meatball Ron said, y'all best move will be the receiver y'all drafted 12. LOL.
I mean,
hey, can't get mad at that.
He's an Eagle fan, unfortunately.
What's up, St. Francisco Magoya? Linebacker, he's a sleeper tested, real good.
Again, sleeper tested what round, though? You like to get drafted in the second or third or fourth rounds. They don't have to be all first rounders.
Samuel McKenzie saying we need a receiver, either Golden or T-Mac. Again, there's Golden again popping up in that discussion.
Yep.
So, how many picks do the Eagles have? Not sure. Skeptical fan. We'll have to wait till maybe LT or one of our other resident Eagle fans pops up. Yeah, but Meatball Ron, if you know, let us know. So, Aztec Aguilar 4 said, running back room in the draft is stacked this year, and I think our defense will be, faster than they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with a lot of the holes the depth holes that we're fixing. I like what we're doing. We're actually going out there and doing something about it. Sign some of our own. I know you say we need to sign many of our own. We signed some of our own. Osa's the big name, and everybody else is like, But we signed some of our own. We didn't have much to lose. We're not much. Cooper Rush, whoop-de-doo. We got to get a backup, quarterback somewhere. That's easy. For a couple million, you can find a lot of guys out there. We can get them in soon, but we got to fill in some of these depth spots. Then we go and draft some starters in the first 3 rounds: running back, receiver, linebacker, cornerback, and then you can fill out best player. Day 3, best players available. I don't give a fuck at that point. I trust Will McClay on that, but that's what we need to do. And I think that whatever position we go with, running back, linebacker, receiver. You really can't lose with the Cowboys right now because we have so many needs in those 4 spots I just mentioned.
No, I fully agree.
It's after free agency, yeah.
So, And with that said, guys, again, huge shout out to everybody here
Yeah.
chilling with us. Like I said, hit like, subscribe, hit the bell. Thank you so much to the people representing, like the
Yes.
sponsor of the week, the stream boss, the
Membership gifting
membership. There we go.
champion,
I knew I was
John
missing one of
Luna.
those.
John Luna, the man, much love to him. He's the one repping the board 6 straight times. And that means like 4 months almost, I think,
I know.
total. Sponsor of the week and the membership gifting king and 100 points on the stream boss. I don't think he's given that up in about 3 or 4 months. So
I
shout out to the man, John Luna. He almost got us over the top. We were 8 away from getting to the goal, but it came close. Thank you guys for almost getting us there. We have like 5 minutes left, so I guess
And of
a
course,
barrage could
skeptical
come through,
fan.
right?
Always staying skeptical.
Hell yeah.
Rocking it as the Cash App King.
Yes, he's the king of the Cash App. Last time, he's been rocking that spot.
Yeah.
Let me put him up here. But that's Shetley. That's not Cash. There he is, skeptical fan. But he's also the leader right now when
Yeah.
it comes to the Cash App side. And he's also the leader on the gifting membership board with 2 gifted memberships today. Big shout outs to you, Mr. Skeptical Fan.
That's right.
In first place, though, currently is John Luna, trying to go for 7 in a row. 7
That's
is
right.
heaven. John Luna in first place. This is not the shut. We'll have at least 1 or 2 more before we name a champion. But you guys gotta keep those notification bells on. And as you can see, Skeptical Fans in first place on the membership gifting board, but John Luna is in first place right now on the overall board. So we'll see how that goes. Skeptical first on the Cash App board. John Luna, Stream Boss, fully loaded. So thank you guys, specifically John Luna, Skeptical Fan, A. Lavelle, Calvin Richard, Dwayne Broussard back in the membership, the silver level crew, Alpha Male Pimp back in the navy blue crew. And like I said, Skeptical Fan, more thanks to him. He's second place, by the way. I re-looked at the numbers. He's actually second place behind John Luna. And Skeptical Fan also gifted 2 memberships and back in the star level membership. The man, the great one that stays skeptical fan. Thank you, sir. Big shout outs to the man staying skeptical, dropping those clown show Jerry Jones emojis. And I will say this overall. I think it was a better start to our off season.
I agree.
We signed more players, which gives us maybe more. But more players signed doesn't mean it's better. But maybe it's better for the coaches. More of their style of players rather than the Jerry Jones telling you what you're gonna get.
Like in a weird way, because of the way that this team has now conditioned me, I see some of these moves as a bit of a red flag to Schottenheimer, because it's almost like the Cowboys feel desperate enough that they're like worried enough that they're like, oh boy, we better make some of these moves that they normally would make, and just kind of throw their hands up in the air because they're like, oh well, you guys got to figure that out. That's McCarthy's job to figure out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to say.
It feels a little bit like the Cowboys are trying to pull an Eagles too. This all the guys I mentioned, we signed like 10 guys. 8 of those guys are signing 1-year deals.
This is the
Cowboy an Eagles
version,
response.
Yeah, this is the Cowboy version of
what the Eagles,
whatever Howie's trying to do.
But Howie Roseman actually went and got guys that were starters. We got a bunch of backups. So there's a difference between the Cowboys and the Eagles on why they have won 2 Super Bowls in 8 years and we haven't won fuck in 29. So anyways, on that note, guys, I do appreciate everybody here with us, sticking it out for. I know it took a month, but we got a good show in for you guys. And if you're watching this on the replay, leave your comments down below. We'll try to answer them. We'll be live again. We are going to be out of town for a week or so, I guess. Not out of town. We have family. We're going to be not able to go live for sure for a week. So maybe next week, as we get into the month of April, it's time to see what other free agent moves we had. Get maybe Seabass on here for, I know we still owe Seabass. I think we owe him one. I think we got caught up. I'm not sure. Either way, I think we maybe get Seabass or not. Either way, we will have another show here before the draft. After the free agent, I'm sure we'll have a couple more free agent moves. Maybe a trade, who knows? And then we'll have a mock draft show, and then we'll have the draft. So about 3 or 4 shows before the draft comes. So buckle up, guys. We got a lot of things going on, a lot of pieces, moving pieces, and truly, still, even though we made a lot more moves than last year at this point, we still have a shitload of holes to fix and fill.
That's
a whole shitload of them. So we got a long off season to go still, guys. A long off season to go.
So with that said, guys, again, huge shout out to everybody here chilling, hanging with us. There's a reason we do what we do here. And it's thanks to all of you guys here. Yes. And of course, because of our love for our Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, but guys, You know we're here. We know why we do this thing. You know we rep that star for everything, baby. Why don't you let them know why we do this each and every night, or why we do this each and every
Yes.
month at least now, right?
Why do we do this as much as we
For
can
almost
when
8
we can?
years on YouTube.
Huh?
Why do we do this? Tell them.
It's that navy blue.
You know it.
It's that silver too.
You know it.
But it's that star over everything.
Always over
Keeps us
everything.
coming back.
I don't care who the best player, my favorite player, very favorite coach, most hated owner, Jerry Jones. It's the star over everything. Remember that, guys, here on My Cowboys Family. And of course, win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, here on this channel, we will always rep that star over everything. Here for almost 8 years. And we got gear for years. So we ain't buying new shit from Jerry Jones.
Yep.
That's the way we're rolling. And I'm admitting it. And you guys should do the same. Never forget, no matter what, even if we hate Jerry Jones, we still love that star. And here on My Cowboys Family for almost 8 years, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's try and get that 6 and beyond. I don't even want to say that. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat all night long. I see Alice in the house, many others from the Meatball Ron, from the After Dark crew. We're going to have a very short After Dark stream tonight, 2-hour stream. Dave is in the house. So we'll see some of you guys on the After Dark session. But it's going to be a quickie over there.
Mm-hmm.
We had a long one here. We had a lot to catch up on. This was number one priority, so we had to get it done. The wife and I had a chance to do it tonight. We had to get it all out. So thank you all for rocking with us. We'll be back soon. Stay safe out there, guys. Thank you guys in the chat for dropping the knowledge. Thank you guys for the love, the donations. They're dropping the love from above. Memberships, gifting memberships, jumping into memberships, dropping love with comments and trying to hit that goal. John Luna, everybody's skeptical. All you guys.
There's only one last thing to drop.
You know what it is here. As we can drop out, clock out, relock and reload for the next show when it comes. We're going to do all that, baby. Tell them what we got to do before we drop out of here for the night.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. That beat is fully dropped. Signed, sealed, and delivered, guys, for the night. As we move on to the After Dark hours in about an hour and a half from now. An hour from now, maybe? Hour and a half from now. Stay tuned for that if you're on that side of things, for a couple hours. Outside of that, we'll see you here. Hopefully sooner than later, guys, in a week and a half or so. Beginning of April, end of March, we'll be back. We'll be busy with some family stuff from now. Guys, you guys stay safe. Thank you. You can be anywhere you're here watching us, listening to us. All the news, info, and updates on our Dallas Cowboys. Cannot do this without you guys as you join us for another Cowboys chat right here on MCF, My Cowboys Family. The wife, myself, MCW. We rocked it again. You guys rocked it with us. We talked about Zack Martin. We talked about the top picks, about the salary cap, and the free agent moves and trades that we made. Hopefully, better things to come for the Cowboys in the future. Here in MCF, it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything. Never forget the number one thing right here in My Cowboys Family. You guys, the fans, keep us rocking it on the nightly. So thank you guys. Hit that like button for the stream. Subscribe for the channel. Hit that notification bell so you know we're going live on the night. Well, I always say the nightly. Somewhere on the nightly. But we go live on the regular. And of course, stay safe, guys. Follow us on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, Discord as well. All the links and information is in the description down below. We'll see you guys soon. Peace out. Much love. Stay safe. And never, ever forget, that's Cowboy.